What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of All Things Super. I am one of your hosts, Spider, and I'm joined once again by the one, the only, Mr. VIP, Frankie Washington. How are you doing today, sir?
I am. Did you catch any of that?
None of it. I'm about to say your microphone doesn't pick that up.
I don't know why it hates me so much.
I don't know.
But for the people that are listening,
the high velocity noise suppression.
So it just looks like I'm just. If you see me, it looks like I'm looking for my keys.
Yeah, pretty much.
My cigarettes or glasses.
You have to be talking and do it at the same time for us to be able to like pick up some.
Oh, is that what it is? So you can hear it now?
Yes, as long as you're talking.
Okay. I am infinitely awesome. It's in clap code. It's a new thing. Clap code. Clap code. I know it sounds like an applause, but it's different. Talking and clapping at the same time.
Okay.
Like coaching, but not. Different now. Michael Jackson renamed the moonwalk. It wasn't originally called that. It's just a clap code now.
What was it called before? It was called the moonwalk.
That is, Spider. The slide or something. It's I don't know. You gotta have to ask Google or Genie or Alexa. Or
because I mean, I thought he created the move.
Apparently, no. There's somebody that predates the moonwalk, and what happened is they asked Michael Jackson when did he learn how to do like that name of the dance, and he was like, "What are you talking about? That's not what I did. I did the moonwalk. Same move, different name."
Okay.
Kind of like when you go to a burger place, you get the same burger, different name, same toppings, tastes different, different burger, ingredients different. It's beef, right? What part of the beef are you using? That's the mystery in that meat. Welcome to the show. Now,
that's that for our viewers and our listeners. That's your homework. Go research what was the name of the moonwalk before. No, we're not worried about what's the beef. What was the name of the moonwalk before it became the moonwalk? And let us know in the comments what the name of it was.
Yeah, it's out there.
There's gonna be a listen, and I was just looking this up. There's gonna be a Michael Jackson biopic.
Moonwalk competition?
No, it's not gonna be a moonwalk competition. It's
I bet you there'll be a moonwalk competition at the premiere.
Maybe.
There you go. Listen, who doesn't want to see the Michael Jackson story? I was thinking about this the other day, Spider. I don't think people should wait until they pass to tell those biopics. I think you should be a little conceited and tell your own story while you're here, while you're alive.
I mean, that's
the way you want to tell it.
Yeah, that's you have more control over how your story is being told when you're alive versus your estate or your family. Because what was it, the Whitney biopic, where when it came out and Whitney's like family was all upset because they did her dirty and all this other kind of stuff, and they did a whole bunch of stuff that they didn't approve of. I feel like that's happened in a lot of biopics that have come out where the families or the estate, like, you know, a lot of the stuff was inaccurate. You know, they played it up for entertainment purposes, but
Queen biography. I'm saying it wrong. The We Will Rock You guys.
Queen.
What's the name of that movie they did? The Queen movie.
Wasn't
with Freddie Mercury. Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Rhapsody. That's
like one of the most famous songs. I was like, wasn't it just Queen?
Right.
Yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Of course it is. But that it's so interesting because they say like all those events didn't happen like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it still was a good movie. Still was good. It's inaccurate.
That's why they put that's why they put
legendary.
They don't put based on a true story. They'll put inspired by true events, and that's how they get around it legally.
That's what happens. Yep, this is true. But I'd rather have my story told while I'm here.
Right. I'll be executive producer. Like, that didn't happen. This is exactly how it happened. We're like, well, you gotta talk for entertainment purposes. I don't give a fuck about entertainment purposes. I'm telling my story.
You gotta listen. if you do it like that, you can. Unless you say once upon a time, you can be able to tell the story
Cause
however you
like,
want
what
to.
was it? Rocket Man. Rocket Man had like over stylized,
Rocket
like different set
Man,
changes and like all these colors and
of
like all this
course,
stuff that was fantastical.
Rocket Man.
And it's like, yeah, you can do that
Yeah,
because at that point in time, Elton John was
he's
on
a
a lot of
sir.
drugs. So he probably did see
Oh
this stuff
wow.
happening in, I mean, when you take the artistic liberty in that way, and I mean that's a good point of somebody doing a biopic while they're still living, and I'm sure
While
Elton
he's
John,
alive,
because
right?
if I remember correctly, I think Elton John handpicked Taron Egerton to portray him in Rocket Man.
As he should. As he should. Listen, it's an honor to portray him.
Yeah.
He's a legendary uh pianist, songwriter,
Mm-hmm.
musician, and artist. And you ain't gonna have as many glasses that he got. I gotta get my shade game
Yeah,
up
you
because
gotta,
Elton John got
you
like all the frames.
you will.
I
That
like all
is
the
a
frames.
milestone that you will never catch up on.
You right. I just go look into the stars and just admire the glistening glam of what's going on with the Rocket Man.
But that's not what we're
Speaking
here to
of
talk about.
Rocket Man,
Speaking of Rocket Man,
what?
I don't
Oh,
know how to segue into that. But we
well,
there
there
were there
was a rocket.
what's there?
Not in this movie, no.
No, not in this movie. But we're here to talk about a
Period.
movie that's been rocketing up the charts. We're
The
talking about
disc. Is that a grenade? It's not a rocket. It's a disc. It's
yeah, that was
being
it's more
projected.
of a
It's a
grenade.
projectile
Yeah,
disc.
yeah, it's more of a grenade. But no, we're talking about Thunderbolts. Brand new film
Asterix.
asterisk. Can't forget the asterisk because we're going to talk about what the asterisk stand for. That was the big question. Will we get the reveal of what the asterisk stands for in Thunderbolts? And spoiler alert, yes, we do. We do find out what the asterisk is for. But we will talk
Yeah,
about
that's
that.
your only spoiler warning.
That's the only spoiler warning that you'll get. But yeah, talking about Thunderbolts, brand new Marvel Cinematic Universe film starring Florence Pugh, David Harbour, Sebastian Stan, Hannah John Kamen, Wyatt Russell,
Cast.
Louis Pullman,
Loaded cast.
and Olga
Cast.
Kurylenko. I don't want to mispronounce her name. Oh,
I would mispronounce it. Not intentionally.
Kurylenko, and then also
That's what
Julia
there
Louis
you go.
Dreyfus.
D Fontaine.
Valentina Allegra De Fontaine. Not just Fontaine. You wouldn't call him the Minister of Fence or the Secretary of Fence. He's the Secretary of Defense. When I heard, I was like, okay, that's what this movie is going to be like. I am ready for it.
Yep.
I am strapped
Welcome
in.
to the show.
I will say,
we gonna burn you right there.
because in our Sinners review, I was talking about how when we saw it on Screen X, which is the screen that or the movie showing that portrays the movie on not only the front screen but on the side walls as well. And I didn't really care for it too much because it kind of cut up. Like you had in the scene where Sammy and Stack were in the car going to get cornbread and Sammy was singing in the car.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
framed like that, and then they would cut to a part of the scene and like the crease in the wall. Sammy was in the crease, so it's like you couldn't even see him. So I was like,
wow.
all right, that's why I was saying I don't really know if it was filmed for Screen X because yeah, you can stretch out a scenery, but if it's not formatted right, then it's gonna be all fucked up.
Right.
But we saw Thunderbolts in 4DX. And if you don't know what 4DX is the immersive movie theater experience. So you have your D-box seats. Your D-box seats are the seats that move. So if you're in an action scene and you're in a helicopter and the helicopter is going down, when the helicopter lurches forward, your seat will lurch forward. And when you're in a fight scene and you get the main character's getting thrown around, your seat is getting thrown around. They throw a punch to the left, your seat goes to the right, all this other kind of stuff. That's D-box. 4DX adds a layer on top of that because not only do you have the moving seats, but if there's like a mist of water will spray on you. If there's like a breeze, then the fans will blow and all that other kind of stuff. But so we went and saw it in 4DX, and I will caution anyone who's going to see an action movie in 4DX. If you get motion sick or if you got like a large popcorn, you have to make sure that you are ready because those seats,
Oh wow.
they're turned to 11. And when I say they can jerk a person out of the seat if they're not ready for it.
Wow.
That's how
Are there
hard.
seatbelts on their
No, there
seats?
are no
Is it
seatbelts
like
on
a
the
roller
seats.
coaster?
It is not like
Oh
it
wow.
shakes like a roller coaster, but there's no safety bar. There's no like strap I can pull down. None of that. It's just you in a seat getting jostled around the theater.
I can guarantee you there's gonna be a toddler getting tossed
Oh
that's
yeah,
gonna make a seatbelts a mandatory thing. As soon as they drop Toy Story, whatever number they're
it'll
in.
be 5 at this point,
7? Oh.
something like that. But no,
Are we
there was
counting are we counting the shorts?
no, we're not counting the shorts. Um,
Okay.
but there was a family sitting next to me where it was a young kid. And when the movie first started, it was so funny because the movie starts and the first scene we get is Yelena on top of the building and she like jumps off. And when she took
Yep.
that step off, that's what the seats did. The seats, when she stepped off, the seats leaned forward. And so when the
Oh.
parachute opened and we got jostled around, like the parachute is open and the breeze came in and all this other kind of stuff. But once she got to that guard and she knocked him out, that's when the seats just started shaking. And the kid next to me was not ready for it. he was
lost his
not ready
drink?
for it. No, he didn't lose his drink, but I guess his dad or whatever adult that he was with had to like hold his hand out, like grab him because he was about to fall out the seat. So if you
Wow.
go to see the movie and you go in D-Box and you do 4DX, just I gotta say be prepared. But I will
Did
for
you
for
did you have
me.
to did you have to sign a waiver?
No, you don't have to. I mean, I guess it's like maybe there might be terms and conditions when you buy the ticket that you have to agree to. If you buy the ticket for
I
4DX, you're
hope
agreeing
so.
to this. I don't know. But I will say for me, it didn't take away from the movie, but it definitely doesn't let you enjoy some of the more like the more intense scenes. You can't really enjoy it as much as you would if you were in a regular theater or an IMAX theater because you can like really see everything that's going on and not have to worry about bouncing all over the place.
I I've experienced that, but not as a theater, like as with a movie. It was like
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like a roller coaster
Like at a
ride.
theme park or
Cause
something.
yeah, like an indoor theme park. So
Mm-hmm.
you walk in and you sit down, and
Yeah, and they have like the whole thing going on
they
in
didn't
front of you.
have. Yeah, and then the whole mist, like you were explaining when we went through the Amazon, so it got kind of
Mm-hmm.
warm, and then you had to like these woofers under the sea, so you got
Yeah.
what's that about?
Yeah, I
And then
remember we
they
went
spray a little
to
cold or something.
yeah, I remember we went to Disney. I can't remember what year it was, but they had like the Lilo and Stitch experience or whatever, where Stitch was
Ah,
it started off, you know, you go into the theater or whatever, you sit down and the show starts. Stitch is in a tube in the middle of the theater, and then part of the show is that he gets out and you can like the lights go dark and you can hear him like skittering around because there's speakers and it's like, oh, he's under the seats, and then you can feel something like bump under your seat and like kind of hit your back of your leg and stuff like that. Yeah, so like that whole immersive theater experience, that's pretty much like how it is.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. I didn't see that, but that sounds amazing.
It's
First of all, I
it
would lose
can
my
give you a
mind if
headache.
someone touched my foot. I'm sorry you had to suffer through all this, man.
No, it was
So,
still like I
do
said,
you feel as
it
though you
didn't.
have a fair assessment of the show,
I have
though,
a
of
fair
the
assessment of the
movie?
action. I tell you that much. I know when those guards are getting thrown around, I can
See
definitely
firsthand.
attest to how they might have felt.
A lawsuit waiting to happen. I hope
Probably,
not. I
yeah.
hope everybody enjoy themselves, but because I want to experience it too. I would have loved to experience Yelena falling into my lap.
It's not that kind of
Huh?
sensation. That's some years down the line. We haven't gotten there yet.
I saw that show. It's on Amazon Prime. I'm just putting it out there.
But no, it's the action, even though I'll say this, it didn't take away from the action. Even though, like I said, you can't you can't focus on what's happening on the screen as much since you're being shaken around and everything, but it didn't take away from what I was watching. I was, of course, still able to watch it and see it and everything. But no, what I love about this is that it didn't need to be a superhero movie, if that makes sense. Like,
No, because it's a superhero movie.
no, I understand it is a superhero
it's
movie.
Grounded.
Yes, because even though we do have Sentry who can fly, even though we do have Walker and Bucky and Alexei who are all super soldiers, so yes, it is without a doubt a superhero movie, but this isn't something that's like so superhero. It's not like
it's not a big Avengers level threat.
I mean, he kind of is, in a sense.
He for certain is.
and the thing about it is that
blacked out the whole city.
Yeah, but like you say, it's still grounded. It's still, we spend the majority. I guess I can say it's not a majority of a superhero movie, because a lot of it is still dealt with grounded reality, grounded things, grounded feelings, which not a lot of superhero films touch on. And I will say that this movie did a great job of shining a light on like themes like depression and loneliness and anxiety, and like how do we deal with those feelings, because you have at least 3 of these heroes who have gotten to a point to where they're like, what am I doing with my life? Am I happy?
Mm-hmm.
And it's literally a question that Yelena asked to Alexei.
Yelena.
And then, I mean, Alexei wasn't fulfilled. We see Alexei watching old footage from when he was in Russia, when he was a Red Guardian, like living his glory days. And Yelena asked him, like, are you fulfilled? Like, are you happy with what you're doing? Are you satisfied with this life that you have? And yeah, he lies and he's like, so full, so filled. But we know, like, deep inside, this isn't what they want. At the end of the day, the I would say the moral of this story is that regardless of all of the bad things that these characters have done, at the end of the day, they just want to be seen as good people. They just want to do good things. I think that in Alexei's eyes, he does want it for glory purposes. He wants to be famous. He wants to be in a limelight.
What's wrong with that?
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that anything is wrong with it. But because I mean, it's because it's not
Captain
that
Captain America's in the limelight.
Everybody
was. Know Captain and a whole museum in this Smithsonian.
And here's the thing: it's not that he was only wanting to. It's not that he was only wanting to be good so he could be famous, but he wanted to be famous for being a hero. It's not that he only wanted to be a hero so he could be famous. So it's not like that scene, you know, where
that up too.
It's not like he was going out to save people just to be in the public eye, but he appreciates the glory that comes with being a hero. But at the end of the day, it's still, he wants to be a good person. He wants to save people. He wants to help people. Same with John Walker. It's not that and when he in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, when he was assigned the title of Captain America, he went into it expecting to hold up a mantle, to be Captain America, to hold up his values, to be a beacon of hope for people to look up to. That's what he wanted in the beginning. And even as U.S. agent, it's not that he wants to be
under the weight was too much. When the Dora Milaje whipped him, he's like, they weren't even super soldiers. Like he had to, and remember, he was trained to train. He was the top of the pinnacle, best of the best with honor, sir. And
best of the best with honors, sir.
And the Dora Milaje
whooped that ass,
detached Bucky arm, and whooped on John Walker. Like, your shield was nothing. You got the shield, but first of all, Cap would never.
No.
he ain't even fighting the door. He gonna talk about it.
Right.
But he came in there all arrogant, like,
Let's
you know who
put
I
down the
is,
pointy
you know
sticks. So like, you motherfucker, you touch me.
So is he redeemable? I mean, he's still the same person.
No, I'm saying he's still a murderer. He still killed a dude right in the street, and I'm sure that he's killed other people while working for Val. But
well, why are we acting like Captain America doesn't kill people? Captain America kill people.
Captain America, because he killed Nazis.
Anybody that disagree with me, hold on.
Go back
Anybody
and watch
that don't
Captain
agree,
America
watch
First
the Winter
Avenger.
Soldier.
No, go back and watch Captain America First Avenger, where he busts through the door with a gun. Cap was shooting people. Walked through the door, shield in hand. Blah, 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 blah.
But even if you want to say those are Nazis, take it to Winter Soldier when he lands on that ship.
Mm-hmm.
Them boys is dead.
Yeah.
He kicked the dude. He flipped over the side of the boat.
Yeah.
I know he did.
Maybe he could swim.
That vibranium shield hit
Maybe he could swim.
How can he swim? Did you see how he hit the side? He ain't got no legs. That dude dead. You can only do this for so long. That boy, fish food. Look, when that vibranium shield hits you, you ain't just about to walk at all.
No, you're not.
Ask with your boy, Backdrop the Leaper.
Oh,
I wonder if they go bring him back in there.
I mean, he was.
I'm not sure if he had.
I mean, they brought him back with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Did he survive that?
No, he got killed.
Yeah, so he's done.
I was like, why they brought him back to kill him? That ain't make no sense.
To connect
to
keep the universe connected. I don't know.
Is it?
That's
connected.
Yeah, it's connected.
We'll get into that later because we'll talk about the connection.
Right.
It all connects.
But I mean, of course, it has to connect because.
Well, let's talk about it now.
This movie is filled with secondary characters from other films.
This is the connective tissue movie.
This is the connective tissue movie to build up the next ensemble movie, because every single one of these people were side characters from their previous films.
Yes.
Or in John Walker's case, from a TV show. Yeah, or TV show.
Yeah.
What I would say, you talking about why bring him back just to kill him? Why do we bring back Taskmaster to kill her when she probably wasn't even on screen for a full 5 minutes?
Because y'all didn't like her. So this is course correction.
But why involve her at all?
Marvel listens to the fans.
Do they?
Because we're showing y'all that we agree with you. We made some creative choices that y'all didn't like her. We didn't like her either. Now look, she's gone. And now we can give you the Taskmaster that you want, who makes jokes, and there's a lot more like Spot.
Here's my thing though. Because this was something that we talked about when we were watching.
That Taskmaster mask.
Yeah, the mask was great. The mask was great. The show was great. But my thing is, if you wanted to fake us out and think that Taskmaster was going to fully be a part of the Thunderbolts, I think that
put it on a press tour.
Yes, I think that there should have been some consistency in the trailers, because remember, there was a trailer that came out, the teaser trailer, that showed Taskmaster fighting in the underground bunker. But when the elevator opened, it didn't show her in the elevator. It didn't show her in the scene where they're all talking to Val when Sentry comes out. And so people started speculating, oh, well, Taskmaster's going to die because clearly these are scenes from a later part of the movie that she's not in. Yep. Then it was like Marvel was like, oh, okay, well, they probably already figured it out, so we need to redo the trailer. They redid the trailer, and they digitally added Taskmaster into those scenes. And it was like, okay, well, is she going to be involved or is she not going to be involved? And then the final trailer came out, and then they took Taskmaster out again. So it was like, where was what conversation was being had when these trailers were being cut to, like, should we include her? Should we not include her? Because I feel like they should have just included her from the beginning, and those questions would have never been asked. Because the first promo posters that came out, she was on. And then when the later promo posters started coming out, she wasn't. And it's like, what are we doing with this?
And then they did the 5 hour chair reveal,
And
and
her
you
name
got the
wasn't
whole
up there.
cast.
Everybody else from
That
the
was the
Thunderbolts
nail in
was
the
up there.
coffin.
Yeah, it was like, okay, yeah, she's definitely dead. She's not coming back. I feel like she had
So,
a rather unceremonious exit, like a
so did
quick shot
Maria
to the
Hill.
head, which is a death that shouldn't have happened.
Okay, are we gonna reverse time and somebody gonna do a time heist for Maria Hill?
No, they're not.
Okay.
I know they're not.
R.I.P. Maria Hill.
Yeah, rest in peace.
One of the coldest in the game. One of the coldest in the Nick Fury. What? You let her get killed.
Dude, I love the blooper reel from the 2012 Avengers when Kobe Smulders, she like hears on the radio that Coulson was killed, and she just like falls like Coulson, no, Coulson, why? I was like, oh man, you got to keep her in. She should never died. She is like because she wasn't involved. I don't know if they just wrote her off as like, oh, she's just not an important enough character. We have Nick Fury, so do we really need Maria Hill? I was like, fucking yes, we need Maria Hill.
Yes. She's about as important as Colston. Duh.
Yes,
That's crazy.
it is crazy, but
No Colston in here, no Maria Hill in here. We have Val.
we have
And
Valentina
now,
Allegra de Fontaine.
instead of having her Colston or Maria Hill, she has Mel.
Mel, yes.
Now I
And
thought Mel was from
Miss Marvel,
I
no,
know.
different
Yes,
actress.
I thought she was from Miss Marvel.
Different
I
actress.
thought it was a friend. Yes. I admit that, and it's okay.
I mean, I had what was that G20? I thought Manny from
I've
G20.
seen
I thought
her in something.
he was a different actor. So we get things wrong sometimes, but we admit when we are wrong.
Not as often as you think. But we,
No,
well, but I seen her in something else, and it was very familiar to me, and I just thought it was Miss Marvel.
mm-hmm.
But she's the assistant for Val. She's Mel, and clearly Bucky is shooting his shot. Is this what's happening?
No, Bucky
Because
is not shooting his shot. Bucky is
ain't
absolutely
Bucky like
this
100 years old?
yes, Bucky is over 100 years old, and this woman is probably in her early to mid 20s. Well, no, because this is
It get
2027.
creepy after a while.
This is 2027. She said she was in. Well, she didn't say. She said she was in high school when the Avengers happened. So that was in 2012. So we're talking 15 years
Well,
later. So even if she was a freshman, she would be 29 now.
yeah,
So she's
ish.
somewhere mid to late 30s.
Okay.
Still,
I
but
mean, she's consensual. Maybe she
if
likes them
that's what you
older.
if that's what
I
you want to
don't.
call it. But anyway,
I
no,
don't
Bucky
know.
was not shooting his shot. Bucky was trying to get
Uh,
inside information on Val to help with this investigation that was going on.
mm, okay. If that's what you
I
say.
don't I don't know why
Listen.
you think anything other than what it actually is. No.
So let me give you guys the TLD. Uh, what's going on here? Val's getting impeached, or they're trying to impeach her
Mm-hmm.
because she's basically moonlighting in CIA and working for Oz. I just Oz now, not
Ox.
Oscorp.
Ox Corp. OXE.
Ox Corp,
Yes.
which is not in the comics at all. This is new.
No, it's well, I mean it is new, but it is in a it was created in the Thunderbolts run, the late I don't want to say the latest Thunderbolts run, but a
Oh, it's
very
recent.
recent yeah,
Okay,
very recent Thunderbolts run, yes.
okay.
But it
So
was created
before that
specifically
time. All
for
right,
Thunderbolts. Yeah, the corporation did not exist outside of Marvel canon before that Thunderbolts run.
got it. So so they're trying to say that she's doing stuff which they knew what she was kind of doing, but
Mm-hmm.
they didn't know that she was killing people and they were dying
And doing his human
from the
experimentation.
experimentation, which is illegal in all, not in Madripoor. I don't think it's illegal in
I
Madripoor.
don't think anything's illegal in
I
Madripoor.
think there you go. You do it in Madripoor. You should have did it in Madripoor. Anyway, so all that stuff. So now she's trying to clean the house
Mm-hmm.
and wrap up all her loose ends. So she calls all these people that works for her, and we find out that Taskmaster works for her too. And I remember I asked you that question: Do we think that because Ghost works for her too?
Yeah.
I said Taskmaster, but I mean Ghost works for her too. Do we think that Sonny Birch, secret buyer, could have been Val trying to get that sweet Pimtech? Ghost was there to get something.
Well, Ghost was there to steal it for herself so she could
Of
stabilize
course.
her molecules. But I mean, it's possible.
Mm. Call, call Kevin and tell him I got one. Now, so she's trying to get rid of all her old evidence, and these loose ends are now there to take out each other. Only person that was successful in their mission is Ghost,
Yep.
which we needed because again we learned that in that Ant-Man and the Wasp that Ghost is already an operative being sent out on missions.
Right.
You know, Shield turned it. What it
Well,
wasn't
she was
Shield
a
that turned
rogue.
into a
She was a
weapon.
rogue Shield agent at that point. She had already left
Yeah,
Shield,
there
but
you
she was
go.
on a
So
run
she's a weapon.
with Bill Foster.
Mm. And she took a life. She took Taskmaster out. You guys didn't like Taskmaster, boom. Which that's the only thing she really did in the movie.
Well, she saved somebody
Yeah.
from getting crushed by a helicopter.
So did a civilian.
Well,
So
not necessarily.
okay. Okay. Y'all can let me know what else she did in the comments. Cause I ain't see her do she was in the she helped with the big boulder. She helped.
Oh, the big
She did
slab of
help.
concrete.
The big
And
slab that came off the
here's my
building.
thing.
She was yeah.
Because
And
we,
she came back and saved them twice. That's what she did.
yeah,
Yeah, they wouldn't have been able to get out without ghosts. She saved them first,
yeah,
and then she came back and got okay.
she can
I
get
take back what
places
I said.
with the where other people can't. But here's my thing. Talking about that big slab of cement or concrete or whatever that was that they had to hold up to save the woman. John Walker,
Yes,
Alexis
super soldier.
Sitkevich. Oh, no, Alexei
Yes, super
Soshnikov. I'm
soldier.
thinking Alexei
There you go.
Sitsevich
I
is
don't know.
Rhino.
There it
Alexei
is.
Shostakov,
Oh,
Bucky
you
Barnes.
think they're related?
No, they're
Yeah,
not
also
related.
super soldier.
They're not related by first names.
Could have been cousin.
You have three super soldiers. Now, granted, none of them had the same super soldier serum that Steve got, but
No,
you have
no.
to believe that they are just as strong, if not almost just as strong as Steve, right? Steve was able to
Yes,
stop a helicopter from taking off.
yes, he could. He was able to hold Thanos' hand
He was
back
able
with
to hold
the glove.
Thanos' hand back. How much did we watch Bucky flip a truck with just
Yeah,
his shoulder? Now,
yeah.
granted, it was a vibranium arm.
Well, okay, momentum too. Because if it's da 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 da
Yeah,
da,
but you got to think about it. It's not even about the arm. The arm gives it the lift. But if you have a truck rolling towards you and it hits you, you have to be firm in the leg so it just doesn't roll
yeah,
right over
he
you.
should
So that
he
was
should have no legs at all
exactly. But Super Soldier
or
Serum,
quads of steel. Of course.
he's able to brace himself. He's able to use the arm, deflect the inertia, flip it over, save the people, whatever. John was the first to hold up the he was using his back to stop
Yep.
the concrete from falling over. And then Yelena and Ghost come. I'm like, what y'all gonna do? Y'all can't help at all. I mean, maybe you can provide some resistance, but I felt like I would have thought that John
Real
would have been able to
sexist what you're
handle that
saying right there.
himself.
Real sexist, Spider. I just want you to know
It's not
that.
even about them being women. It's about them
It's
being.
not.
It's
I
about
know.
them
It's
being.
about them
I
being.
mean, but you think about it.
They're not super soldiers at all.
If you look at
They help.
if
They
you look at
contribute. No, y'all didn't.
if you look at the whole Thunderbolts team, even with Taskmaster, if you included Taskmaster and all of that, all of the women are just human. All of the men are super powered.
This whole movie is sexy.
The whole movie is sexist.
I
And
can't wait to watch how it should have ended.
Y'all want to claim
And
Marvel
the
is being
concrete
woke.
just slips.
Because I mean, if Yelena Ghost would have got that first, they would have been crushed.
Of course. It would have been a whole different movie.
But either way, I thought Walker would have been. Like I said, I don't know like what his lifting capacity is. I don't know what his strength limit is. I don't know how heavy the concrete was, but I just thought he would have been able to handle that on his own. But it showed them
you just seen
all coming
Alexi
together
have
as a team.
whole concrete thing break over him while he saved the little girl.
But it was
apart.
smaller than the thing that Walker was trying to stop. And listen, I don't know.
He was able to hold it and sustain it long enough so the lady can get free.
But she didn't get free. She didn't move. She was just laying there. She was just on the ground. I don't know if she was hurt, but she was laying there long enough to where John had it, and she could have, while he had it, she could have like moved out of the way, but she didn't. So that's when all the other ones had to come in and help him hold it up, and then like push it over, so then she could leave. But you had to show them working together as a team.
Of course, they had to have their. That's not the cinematic moment.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. They didn't get a circle shot, but that was their equivalent of a circle shot. Oh, we needed a circle shot. If they want to call this, we gonna just say it. The New Avengers. They gonna call it.
That's the name.
They've been going out
for the New Avengers.
So here's my question.
It was a Z.
Because they've been going out and they've been changing the promotional material. They put a video on Instagram earlier where Sebastian Stan went to a bus stop where they had a Thunderbolts poster on a bus stop, and he overlaid it with a new poster that says New Avengers at the bottom. The movie has been out less than a week. Is it too soon for them to do this type of rebranding since the movie has only been out less than a week? Because I saw in the comments, a lot of people were complaining. They were like, "Oh, you're giving spoilers, yada yada yada," and it's like, is it a spoiler
don't care
though?
About spoilers.
They don't though.
They don't care about.
They don't, because I mean, we talked about Taskmaster getting shot in the first and only being in there for 5 minutes, and she's not in the rest of the movie. But here's the thing: if you hadn't seen the movie, and you saw that they're now changing the movie from Thunderbolts asterisk to New Avengers, does that spoil anything for you?
It does not. It's marketing like you normally don't see. And I think they may be playing with the ideas, kind of like how Ryan Reynolds was saying they wanted to have a fake Deadpool movie, and then in the middle of it, like switch to a Deadpool Wolverine movie, and it's like let the rest of the events play out, but have it under a fake moniker.
Mm-hmm.
And Kevin Feige was like, "Let's not do that."
It's like I don't think the audience will. I don't think the audience will be able to grasp that.
Yeah, but
I mean, that's a very Deadpool thing to do.
But there are people playing around with that idea. So I mean, even Ryan Coogler's movie Sinners, which I will stop talking about and probably won't for a while, even into this, does that. You know, you think you get in one movie and then it transitions to something
completely different.
Though his transition was very subtle versus the Robert Rodriguez transition from Dust to Dawn, I appreciate Ryan Coogler's transition, and it takes you from one place to another. This is not quite that, but it is that in the sense of, yeah, we got Yelena and she's depressed and she's surviving this attack on her, which she tells Alexi, because she went to visit him, and he happens to be the limo driver, which I find it very odd that
very coincidental.
Mel would hire.
Well, and here's the thing, that it's not that they're hiring a specific limo service, right? Because I think that if I understand this correctly, if you have somebody who is in a position like that and they're going to and from a black tie event, with a charity event like that, I would imagine that like all of the limo services in the area are being used. So they probably just had him like on retainer. They get in a limo and like almost like a taxi, but they don't have to pay him like a taxi. Like he got paid a contract. Like they hire like a bunch of limo services in the area, and like okay, they'll get in the car.
That's just
You
the
let me
car
know
that
where
they
you got to
sent.
go, and then so he
Yes.
went to go
Well,
drop them
he had
off.
the instructions before he even got there. I can guarantee you that.
Probably, but so
Because
he
you gotta know the
overhears.
route.
He overhears that Well, I mean they have GPS, so where you got to go? Oh, I have to go back to the CIA office. Like okay, that's a well-known location. But however,
They survive, and Alexei gets that information. Now he's coming to the rescue because apparently he knows
Yelena,
Valentina.
Yelena, don't go into the mountain. Valentina's gonna burn you alive. And she's just like, oh God.
So dad daughter thing, right? So dad
Oh my
daughter
God,
thing.
Yelena, it's your dad.
So now they're coming in, and I know we got to get from point A to point B. So Mel tells Bucky that hey, all that information that you want, I'm not gonna give it to you, but I will give you like track my phone
Right.
because was she even in the desert?
Yeah, she was
They
there.
were in the okay.
Because remember, Val
Okay.
told her, she's like, it doesn't matter where we are, you can still find me a good cup of coffee.
This is very true. I remember that clearly. Now that you mentioned it, it's all coming back to me, which is impressive because they're in
That
some good
is
places.
impressive because they were in the middle of the desert. So I don't know where she got that coffee from.
I think she brought it from home. I'm not
Probably.
gonna. I think Mel is. I think Mel's cheating. I think Mel's bringing supplies
Listen,
from home.
as if your boss loves it,
That's
then
called.
that's
That's
called,
called being prepared.
yes.
You and she deserved that raise because clearly she saved her life.
Yes.
So in that whole debacle, right, of us trying to kill each other, we discover Bob. We're getting a team together. I'm overall looking at the dynamics of the story. We're getting a team together. We got an event because remember when the heroes meet, they got to fight. So the reason they're fighting is because they're hired to kill each other.
Right.
But we get to see their skill set. We didn't really get to see Taskmasters. I know they said we did, but I didn't see it. See it
Yeah.
like
And here's the thing. And this is one of the things that I loved about them and how they framed this because everybody was assigned to their like most the counterpart that they would most be able to take out, right?
to take out.
Because John was assigned to take out Yelena. Yelena was assigned to take out Ghost. Ghost was assigned to take out Taskmaster. Taskmaster was assigned to take out John Walker. And so
Yep.
you didn't get to see a lot of Taskmasters like mimicking
Masking tasks. Yeah.
because most of the time she was defending herself against Ghost. And because Ghost can phase shift through things, it doesn't give Taskmaster a lot of time to like view her and be able to see her movements to be able to mimic it. When she was going up against John, she was doing what John was doing when they were fighting, going hand to hand. They were basically a stalemate. But when that's how Ghost was able to get the drop on her because she can phase shift, got into Taskmaster's blind spot by the time Taskmaster turned around, right in the middle of the forehead. But
she's efficient.
we were talking about the long takes in Sinners, and not I guess I don't want to call it a long take, but they did do like a long tracking shot with a knife. Yelena got the knife. She threw it at John. Well, she threw it at Ghost. Ghost phased. It went through. John caught it. He went to go throw it. Threw it at Taskmaster. Taskmaster deflected it, and I don't remember how it got back in John's hands, but then John went to
think that
go.
I think that process is wrong. So Yelena throws it, Ghost phase through, catches it, throw it at Taskmaster.
That's what it
Taskmaster
was.
deflected off the shield.
And then John got it.
John catches it and then try to
Then,
give it back to Yelena, where
yeah.
she's electrocuting him, so he can't really drop it
Yes.
on her because
Yes, you are
she's
correct.
saving herself.
Yeah.
Well, that happens sometimes.
We just talked about it. Sometimes we get stuff wrong. Well, we admit when we're wrong.
Yeah. We're not that show that would never admit when we're wrong, Mephisto. So Bob wakes up
Mm-hmm.
and Bob has no idea what's going on. So he's like, "Hi, I'm Bob." This is after Taskmaster dies.
Yes.
Which we got to de-escalate the tension somehow. So they survive that. They get Alexei, and then there's security coming because you gotta the cameras say that they survived.
Mm-hmm.
So again, Valentina's like, "Oh no, they can't survive. That's not what's up. They was sent there to get burned.
Right.
Send some people out there." So they send some people out to take them out, and then you know we're all in the limo. We're trying to get back because we realize it's Valentina that set us up. You're talking about Bucky earlier
Mm-hmm.
and how he deflected the van. The ability that, as cool as it looked, the ability that he was able to grab the cable from the Humvee,
Mm-hmm.
wrap it around his arm 2 times, and then anchor it into the ground. Listen, I know we're in a superhero movie. I know. I went for that reason. Um, and I know all things don't line up in physics in superhero movie. I'm aware. So even if we're going to anchor our arm into the ground, like we're saying, how much does this super soldier serum work that you can be anchored here, hold that cable, and I'm sure the 60, probably 60 miles an hour or
No,
higher.
it had to be less than 50 because the limo only went up to 54 and the Humvee still wasn't like catching up to it. So
Okay.
you're talking like mid 50s, somewhere in there.
Mid 50s? Okay.
Still a good clip.
Nowhere on like the top of the shoulder, like the bone, all of it just go stay attached, and then you flipped it.
Yep.
Thank you for that. I don't know. I don't know what super soldier. Great Guardian had the right to ask. What type did you get?
Exactly. I don't know. Regular? Hydra? Ooh, Hydra. Fancy.
Nah. Yeah, he got the upgraded one. That's why Red Guardian's like, we're the same though. We're the same.
Different, but still the same.
Because you got the upgraded you. That's almost inhuman would happen. So I understand. Red Guardian shouldn't be alive either. I mean, you seen the thing hit him, he just stood up like he was a Frankenstein. You got it. You got it. So Bucky's there, and Bucky shoots a grenade launcher, the disc grenade launcher that he used on Nick Fury.
Mm-hmm.
Again, careful placement of items and things, right? John Walker's there in the back seat. You see that grenade slap the back of that trunk, and even if he don't do nothing else but put that makeshift shield there, that I felt like that was unnecessary, Bucky. So how are we getting back now? Like, did they have to walk? Because Bucky came on a motorcycle.
He did.
You literally could have just drove up and talked to us.
Pull over.
Why?
Like John could have vouched for him. Well, I think at the moment he didn't know. Maybe he did know. I don't know. I don't know if he knew that John was in the car.
And what if somebody was in the trunk?
They did now if they were.
Cool scene. Just logistically, why?
Yeah, I don't. I don't get the reason behind him blowing up the limo. No, I don't.
It's funny. I guess. But now we're in the elevator and we're up. Avengers Tower. Here we go. All in the trailers. Val is there because again, I think she kind of wanted it.
I mean, even so, because wherever they got the box truck from, I don't remember, because they're driving into New York in a box truck, and
Well, somebody stole it. We're not. These are
yeah, they
not
had
heroes.
so. Here's the thing, because
What you got?
they were in DC, because Red Guardian made the joke that that he was the number one limo driver in DC or whatever, and Helena was like, "Aren't you in Baltimore?" He was like, "No, this is DC. Baltimore starts in the next block." So they were in DC. That's where the event was going on. I don't know what desert they went to where he drove a limo from DC to the desert, and then in the same day or the next day they're back in New York.
Hey, I need you to turn your brain all the way off. This is a superhero movie. I need you to turn it off. It's not going to make sense.
But no, they get the box truck, and when when Alexia and Bucky were talking about the super soldier serum, so Alexia asked me, he's like, "So what's your plan?" And so Bucky's like, plan. And so they just drove straight through the lobby, and the brutality at which they take out every single one of those Ox guards, like those guards were not prepared for any of them to come rolling in through like that. They didn't stand a single chance. And then Valentina comes over the loudspeaker. She's like, I'm remodeling this place. I just put in that door. It's like the door was unlocked. I was waiting for you guys. Just get in the elevator. Come up.
This is Bucky. This is all Bucky. This is why Steve need to come back to get his boy. You need old man Steve need to come back.
You need to calm it down.
Like,
that's the thing.
Reckless without Steve.
Steve was the planner. Steve was the one that had the ideas. Bucky was the muscle. You can't put Bucky in the seat to try to make these plans.
This is why he was on ice. I'm starting to see now. I'm starting to see why Bucky was on. This is why they only let him out a certain amount of time, because you do too much.
I mean, even when it was the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it was still Sam was the one that was like leading them, and Bucky was like going along with it. Bucky is not in the, because I mean, he lives how many years as the Winter Soldier, and it was basically Hydra giving him his missions. He's never been the leader. He's never been in a leading position. He's been in a command position. He was a sergeant in the army.
Well, why is he in the Congress then? Of Congressman
that's the thing I don't get. I don't know what was the reason behind
took it
him
right back from it.
I mean,
Val confirms he didn't even, there was a half of a term.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know if she was saying that he was already out, or that Sentry was going to kill him and he wasn't going to last half a term.
Okay. That's a great point. I don't know. Speaking of Sentry,
but I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why he was running for Congress.
Bobson discovered that, he has, why are we shooting Bob again? When we were escaping the facility, we just started shooting Bob?
Because Bob had a gun. Bob had a gun and he was creating a distraction, and the Ox mercenary group didn't know that, because they weren't aware that he was who he was. And that's why Val was like, switch to non-lethal, and the guy was like, Hutch, I think was his name. He was like, I didn't
Hutch is his name.
Prepare for non-lethal. She was like, what? I don't care. Switch to non-lethal. I don't want you to kill him. And so he had a gun, he was firing it, so they just opened fire on him. And he went fucking supernova. Well, not supernova, but he just blasted off to the heavens.
Well, I did appreciate him blasting off and like coming his ass right back down.
Because he didn't know what he was doing. He couldn't control it.
Exactly. Because if you would have all of a sudden, now I have autonomy over everything, I'm a god now, I would have been like, what?
I mean, he still did come into his powers pretty quick. Now, if we're saying that they flew him back to New York And by the time, because we don't know if it was a couple days, but I would imagine that it was a couple days from the time that it took for the Thunderbolts to get from the desert back to New York. Then, yeah, I can see him kind of coming into his powers a bit, because when he broke the glass and he realized that he had these abilities that he could somewhat control, I mean, that's a far removal from what he was doing when they were actually trying to fight him. But I mean, maybe he's a fast learner. I don't know. But he did come into
They did this before.
mastering his abilities very quickly.
Will Pullman, Guardians of the Galaxy, Adam Warlock, he very quickly.
Yeah. Okay. And he was an idiot.
You pulled him out of the pod too early.
Right.
But that's what you have to do with all of these OP characters. You have to nerf them down.
Yeah.
Because if not, they could just come in and solve all the problems. So you don't get
or
any
be
so
unbeatable, and there's no hope for our heroes.
Well, you just saw that when he whipped their Thunderbolts' ass.
He whipped
like
all of it.
It was almost like an Omni-Man fight.
No contest.
It's like if Jack grew up.
Pretty much.
Disney owns it. You could say it. It's like if Jack grew up, and you like. I was just waiting for him to warp reality. He can't, but why not?
I mean,
is that a thing now, Spider?
What's up?
How are we stacking the deck to a point now that, you know, because it's always the question now, who is the strongest in the MCU, right? It was Thor, it was Hulk, but you got Gaia. She can be anybody. And then you have Hercules. Sentry.
Hercules nowhere near the strongest.
You ain't have to do him like that.
I mean, I'm just saying.
He needs some milk. You ain't have to do him like that.
But no, I think that it is becoming a problem because you have so many OP characters. They killed off Thanos. They killed off Wanda.
Like, how strong is Love?
Fuck, I don't know, dude.
she's the body of entity, so she's a cosmic being.
Yeah, but will we even ever see her again?
I hope. She's on the Young Avengers.
Fuck.
At some point.
Sure. Okay. I believe it when I see it. But I do think that it is becoming a problem because that's essentially what they did in the post-credit scene. It was like, you can just become Sentry, and whatever threats that we face, you can just take care of it. And it's just like, well, I can't be Sentry without unleashing the void, so I can't. And so that's going to be the thing, is he's not going to power up himself unless it's a dire situation where there is no other choice. And that's how we hold off.
Strong enough.
Yeah.
But is he going to therapy? I mean, I'm not putting all my cards in the Sentry basket.
I mean,
I'm just saying.
I don't know.
His mental state is. Let him and Moon Knight work some things out, because clearly they got some.
They some multiple personalities to kind of have conversations with. The Void can talk to
to Mark Spector.
Yeah,
all of them got bipolarism of some kind,
and that's what I was saying.
Two identities, and David Banner and Bruce the Hulk.
This movie was.
What up, David Banner?
But this movie was, like I say, it definitely showcased, because all of them had some type of issue, you know. And like we were talking about Ghost, we didn't really get to see Ghost
wife and son left.
Yeah. And the way that Bucky dropped that on him, and it was just like, damn, dude, you had to put this business on the street like that. But
this is true.
It showed
Bucky is wild.
Bucky is wild. Why is he eating your sloppy ass chili dogs over his work? Like, Bucky, come on, man.
He's wild. He's wild. He's uncool. Bucky got money? You think you ain't have a bank account? You don't know what the appreciation of that money is over 100 years?
Right.
What? He got money? What are you talking about? He didn't even buy furniture. You see the Falcon in the winter show, you were sleeping on the floor. The war is over,
Well, I
Bucky.
mean, he's got a nicer apartment now. He's got a dishwasher. You know, he's in Congress, so yeah, he got a little bit more money. But no, but all of them are broken. All of them are a mess of a human being, and they have sins that they have to atone for, and
Atone for.
different
Yeah.
darknesses that they have to deal with, and none of them more than Bob and everything that he's done and everything that he's been through, but the way that they
But did he
showcase
do
it
anything
visually.
before? Oh yeah, well,
well, I mean,
he was on
he was he
drugs
was
and
drug addicted.
spending
They
his
said,
time.
I mean, he may not have killed anyone, but he has definitely committed crimes. He's had which I don't know how he was able to get to Malaysia if he had multiple like arrests for burglary and larceny and like with a rap sheet like that. Can you just freely leave the country?
I don't think
Maybe it
so.
happened
Unless
during the
you
blip.
just
I don't know. Maybe it happened during the blip and they were like a little
smuggling,
lax
some smuggling.
on the
The
borders or
world was
something.
half gone.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Who knows? Well, there were no borders. That's what it was. The flag smashers wanted no more borders to be like it was when the blip happened. So maybe what you're saying is actually canon.
I don't know. But yeah,
But
but it was just showcased, in my opinion, it was showcased beautifully, and it's because I love the beginning of it, because we laugh about it because Yelena and Bob are talking about how they have this feeling of emptiness. It becomes like a void, and Bob asks like, "Well, what do you do with that feeling?" And Yelena was like, "You push it down. You push it deep, deep down. You
yep.
ignore it. You never acknowledge it, and you move on with your life." It was like, damn, that's too true. Because I mean, that's a very human thing to do. It's like you have these feelings and you just suppress them because you have to move on with your life. You have other things, other responsibilities that you have to take care of, and the way that they come back full circle is like, I was wrong to tell you to ignore those feelings and push them down, because it's something that you have to confront. You have to deal with those, because if you don't, it eats you alive. It tears you up from the inside. And she's like, once you confront them, you start to feel lighter. You start to unburden yourself.
Oh,
And she's like, I know that
such a
that's
sweet.
true because it's already been happening since I met you. And it's what Alexi told her when they were in Limbo. He's like, you're helping people, you're saving people. I already see the light inside of you coming back. And yeah, of course, Elena doesn't want to hear
Mm.
it, but if nobody else was in Bob's corner 100% of the way through this entire movie, Yelena had his back from the start. Like, I don't know.
I
Yeah.
think Elena was actually invested in everybody
Yeah.
because when Ghost went through the face through the wall, and it was like she's not coming back, Elena still held on. It was only to the absolute last minute she was like, "Okay, well this is it. I'm gonna just accept death."
Right.
And here it comes. They get blown out the door. Damn.
But yeah, it was just the emotional part of the movie was something that I wasn't fully expecting. I know that in the trailer we saw the scene that Yelena and Alexi shared, with Alexi kind of like trying to tell her like, even though you've done these things in the past, that's not who you are as a person. You can still be a hero and all that stuff. She's like, everybody has stuff that we regret. And Yelena was like, but I have so many things. I have so many things that I
Mm.
regret. And so I knew, at least we're going to get that, but I didn't know it was going to like dive into like, I was about to call him Will, about
The
Bob's,
Black Widows.
no, not
Oh.
necessarily Black Widows, but like when we get into Bob, we go through the shame rooms, the things that Yelena is ashamed about, the things that
Mm.
she had to experience, and how even though these are things that she has already lived through, she was still trying to protect her younger self from seeing those things. Right, she was still turning away
Yes.
when she got her friend shot. She was protecting her younger self when the other widows were getting whipped because they weren't fast enough. And we get into
Mm.
Bob's room, and Bob is like, oh, well, it's peaceful in here. This is where I hide out. And we, see downstairs where his dad is abusing his mom, and he tries to step in, and his mom is telling him, oh, well, you always make everything worse. And that calls back to when they were in the elevator shaft trying to get out, and they get to the
You
top.
mean when they were making that abstracts?
Yeah, when they were making
They made an
asterisks.
asterisk.
But they get to the top and they're like, well, okay, well, what do we do now? We're all braced on each other for support, and any one person moves, we're all gonna fall. And it was Bob was like, well, I didn't think that far. And he mutters to himself, you're always making everything worse. And that's that mental and
That
emotional
is.
abuse that sticks with you for life. And it's just like
Mm.
that was something that I wasn't prepared for. I was not expecting them to go that deep into his psyche like that. And then when he's fighting the void, and you can clearly see that this is not him defeating the void. This is him giving into that rage and that anger, and he's becoming exactly what the void wants. And it's slowly overtaking him and darkening his soul to become one with the void. I'm like, oh, this is intense.
Yes. Well, how did you feel about the resolve then?
I and then this is the thing that we were talking about with the
In a superhero movie.
yeah, in the superhero movie. This is what I was telling uh this is what I was telling Michelle. This is two times. The second MCU movie this year where we were able to defeat the antagonist or to come out on top at the end by talking down the villain or
Mm-hmm.
talking down the antagonist. We were able to decompress the situation by words rather than fighting. And I don't think that that's going to be the running theme going forward, but it is very telling because these are two entities in the Void and Red Hulk that feed off of negativity, that feed off of rage, that feed off of violence. So
Mm-hmm.
you come at it punching, kicking, and all this other kind of stuff.
Uh,
All you're doing is making your opponent stronger. So you have to be of a mindset to be able to be calm in the face of adversity, to be able to use your words
this is
instead of
true.
using your fists. And Yelena
This
was
is
trying to do
definitely
that
true.
the entire time. Even when they were in the penthouse, Yelena was trying to de-escalate the situation, which I
Very true.
don't know how Val thought that that was going to work out any different for her, because you created or you were attempting to create this superhero or super being that was more
Yeah, well, she was
powerful
manipulating them.
than all of the Avengers rolled into one, right? But here's the thing.
Yes.
You start off with the your selling point is everybody thinks that you're not enough. Everybody thinks that you're a
Mm.
bad person. Everybody thinks that you can't do it, but not me. No, I believe in you.
Not me.
I know
I
that you can
believe in
do
you.
it. I want to help
I
you.
believe
I want to help
Satan
you
is the
experience your full
future.
potential, right?
Teach him well and let him lead the way. Show him all the Avengers that are inside.
But she's gassing him up to
Yeah,
get him
not a
to
gaslight girl. You're right.
realize what he's capable of, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
you give the confidence to a person who can do anything, can beat anybody. I just single handedly stopped 3 super soldiers and 2 regular women. And you're going to tell me that I have to listen to you? And he's like you said, why? Why? Why do I have to listen to you? Why do I have to do what you tell me to do? You can't
Yeah,
stop me.
it didn't take long for that to kick in. No,
Because
not at all.
can you be mad at him? Because you're
You
telling me that
don't
I
even
can do
have the
anything that I
milk.
want to do. I don't have to answer to
Well,
anybody. So why should I have to answer to you?
Homeland at least had milk that you could get. Early. That's in the early days. He get it shipped in now. He go and get. He got fancy milk. In the early days, you could control him with dairy. That's
Bob,
back when
Bob,
he was
Bob
weak.
didn't Bob didn't have that weakness.
Not at all. I don't know what you could listen. I don't know what you do because you
There's
you
nothing you
dyed the
can do.
man hair. You it's Frankenstein's monster, right? You create
Right.
something that overall takes you and then destroys you, and then it lives on to do what? To become a void.
And then
of
that's the
all
thing, that
things.
she didn't know that the void existed. She didn't know that the void was a thing. Because the thing about it is, she didn't even know who Bob was. She didn't know that there
Nope.
were any positive test cases that came out of that. And that's what the doctor was trying to tell Yelena in Malaysia. It's like, Val doesn't understand what happened because they took him and they put him in a box because they were like, this worked, but we could see that the two doctors that were tending to him got voided. And so they were like, okay, he's too unstable. He can't be controlled. We can't let him out. And so they shoved him into the storage unit and they were about to incinerate him along with everything else. So she had no knowledge of what potential danger she just unleashed on the entire world. And here's my thing.
How many other characters? What you got?
So we saw that the void was able to just, I don't know, void people, whatever he called, whatever the action of him sending people to the shadow realm. They didn't die, no, because they came back. And so here's the thing: is it a blip situation where they come back to where they got sent to the void? Because if that's the case, those two doctors that were in that lab in Malaysia, that whole floor got blown out.
You mean the one that blew up?
Yeah, exactly. So do they come back there? When Hutch got voided in the helicopter and the pilot got voided, that helicopter crashed. So do they come back in the middle of the air? Are they alive?
Yeah. Hey, turn that brain off. Somebody left your brain on. I think you left your brain on. You need to turn that brain off.
I did.
Superhero movie. So, a lot going on. Throws Red Guardian out the window, but say, I changed my mind. Come back and get slammed up against the bar.
And
this dude is so OP.
But here's the thing: as OP as he is, he wasn't trying to kill them, right?
At all.
And
he took Bucky arm and bitch slapped him with it. The same arm he took the goddamn Hummer with. He slapped the shit out of it.
He did slap the shit. He was like, I don't have a need for this. He's like, I just want you all to stop attacking me. Because the thing about it is, he didn't start fighting them until they attacked him. And that's what Yelena was trying to prevent. But the thing about it is, this goes back to when they all met in the first time. When they were fighting, it was never, I'm fighting everybody in the room. It was, I have my target and I'm going after my target. That was the only line that Taskmaster had was, I'm not here for you.
I'm not here for you.
And she went on to go after Walker. And that was it. Yelena was trying to fight Ghost. Ghost was trying to fight Taskmaster. Taskmaster was trying to fight Walker. Walker was trying to fight Yelena. But they were never trying to fight somebody that wasn't their target. And to the point to where once Taskmaster was killed, Ghost was like, my job's done. I'm out. I was like, I don't need to be here anymore. Y'all handle what y'all got going on. But
I'm glad you mentioned that because they have these sonic cannons now that we keep seeing coming about that we were using for the Hulk, and now it disrupts Ghost phasing abilities. We saw it inside of that little furnace, and they had it on the Humvee. She couldn't phase through to the other car because she could have easily just phased. You seen the Matrix Part 2, the twins phased in. You could phase in to the car,
right? And just
everybody out.
Whoop everybody ass in the car.
Phase out. Or phase in and phase you out the car, take the car, keep driving.
Right.
They ain't gonna catch you.
they ain't
gotta kill you at all.
Just throw you out the car.
And it can go faster than the limo. So all you gonna do is, oh man, she phased me right outside the car.
Actually, step on it. I said, hit the gas. It takes a minute. She just has to warm up to get there.
But his playlist, though, yeah.
Oh man.
Hey.
That was supposed to be his defenses.
I don't know how Val thought it was gonna go.
I don't know.
No. I don't know how it was gonna go. But he turned quick, and then the void is something that they can't control. But the void is coherent. The void really.
Yeah, he's not like a mindless entity that's just like rage monster or anything like that. He was very calculated. And he never
Yeah, he
stated
what?
his
He's
intentions.
Palpatine. He's like, yeah, do it. Come on over to the dark side. Do it. Hit me. Hit me. Hit him. Just keep hitting. Just yeah.
I,
Give in to your urges.
it was funny because I saw an article that said that Sebastian Stan was saying that in that fight scene where they all of the Thunderbolts were going after Bob and they were all like swinging at him. You know, like when Bucky went in, he was like going punch, 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 punch. He said that he actually one time really hit Lewis Pullman, and Lewis
Oh
Pullman was
wow.
so in character that he just no sold it. He shrugged it off like I am Sentry. It
Mm.
was nothing. So I don't know
Oh
how
wow.
hard I don't know how hard Sebastian Stan hit him, but it was enough for Sebastian Stan to be like, "Oh shit, I didn't mean that." But it's like he didn't fall. He was just like nothing. And I
Yeah,
thought
man, that's
that's
a
pretty
part of the
badass.
craft, man. That's a part of the craft because it sure looked like he got him back when he bitch slapped him with
What
the.
the
I ain't saying he hit him for real. I ain't saying he hit him for real, but it sure looked like he bitch slapped the shit out of him with his own arm. And take your bitch on its own with you.
But let's talk
Man.
let's talk about that sequence that because we already talked about him
I mean,
throwing the Red Guardian out and then pulling him back in, and this fight scene was I thought it was very well done to showcase just how powerful Sentry is and just how like I said, you have
right.
three super
Frightening.
soldiers. You had Bucky,
Frightening.
you had Alexa, you had John,
And
and nothing that any of them
don't you
did mattered.
and two regular women.
And two regular women,
not two not two highly skilled assassins. You say two.
two humans who don't have super strength. Ghost can
Ounce of
phase,
super soldiers.
but even Ghost phasing just it didn't make a difference because he just no look grabbed her just like nothing.
Oh my god, that no look grab. Oh, I thought he was about to do the crossover behind the back with her. He just, oh my goodness, this dude. I look at this moment and I think of this moment because Sentry is the DC's version of Superman.
Right.
He just is without the eye lasers, right?
Well,
And I look at the Justice
without the
League.
eye lasers, without the alien heritage. I mean,
Yeah,
there are a lot of differences, but I would say that
he wears draws on the outside.
Sentry's power he does, but Sentry's power set I would say is more encompassing than what Superman has because, like you said, Sentry can he can warp reality. Well, at least in the comics, he can warp realities. Between him and the Void, they are like more powerful than what he said. The power of in the comics a million exploding suns, and
Yeah,
in the Thunderbolts is 1,000 exploding suns. So I mean,
gives it more of a context. Yeah, a million
yeah,
might have been too
a
much
million
to
might have been too
imagine.
much. So just
Yeah,
I mean, but
yeah,
still,
do
a
it.
1,000 exploding suns is still pretty damn powerful.
Not in the scale of a million.
Listen, is there anyone else in the MCU that has the power of 1,000 exploding suns?
No, then he's clearly at the top of the ranking. I mean, if we're talking about who's the strongest, even in the comic books, because this is not the first time this conversation has happened.
Mm-hmm.
Sentry has been known as one of the strongest, if not the strongest ones in the Marvel lore. Um, Obviously, there's the one above all. That's just the one above all,
Yeah, but
and
that's somebody that
it's
sits like outside of dimensions.
hmm. This was a Yelena movie.
Oh, 100%. And I don't think that anybody has any notions to the contrary. This has always been marketed as a Yelena movie. In the trailer, she's the first face that you see. Every single trailer, she's the first person that you see. It's Yelena.
Well, she's the heart of the story too,
Yeah.
though. She's the heart of the story, and as a we're following her and we're understanding that she's still hurting from her sister, and then her family that she had again. We don't know what Alexei was going through or what they were going through, but he was like, "I thought you didn't want me because I'm not your real dad." She's like, "Shut up, you're my dad." And it's like one of those moments. It's like, okay, well, let me get my life together. And it's like, yo, you're going on missions, man. I would love to go on missions, and now
Like
he's
put in
on a
a
mission
word for
because
me with
again,
Valentina and
you got to keep in mind, he did all that. He ain't get paid. Like he ain't get paid for none of that. He was just helping his daughter out.
yeah.
That's it's not a check.
Well, I mean, to
So
be
when
fair, none
you
of them
see
got
him,
paid.
Bucky is a congressman,
Is he still a
half of a
congressman though?
congressman. Well, you said he was getting threatened, so I don't know. It's clearly he was getting. Who is he bringing her in for then? Like
What you
you
mean?
got to be working for somebody. Well, he's trying to turn. He's trying to get. Oh, he's a congressman
Yeah.
because Perry, not Perry White. Keep
Congressman
slaying Perry
Gary, I think
White.
his name was.
Congressman Gary was like, read the briefings. The information is in the briefings. Like, don't come up here trying to do that. You wow, Bucky, you reckless. I need you to read the paperwork.
Because he's talking about a fucking shadow squad or something going like covert ops and all this other kind of stuff. Like you're in Congress
So
now.
he
You
on
have
the
to do
payroll.
things differently. No, yeah, I know that.
So I don't know. Maybe you
But
might throw Lexi a little
I
bone or
think that
something.
after the
Ghost is on contract.
Kojin was
Well,
on
she
contract.
was. So
Yeah.
she might have been going there to collect. I don't know how they set up is.
But I mean, with
So
the
because
the
she the only one that
introduction
successfully do that though.
of the new Avengers now, I would imagine that he gave up his
Everybody getting
seat
a
in
check.
Congress so he could be the new Avengers. Talking about the new
I
Avengers,
think that's what it is though. I think he got tired of doing it the political way. Now he's ready to go back to
I
heroing.
that's what I'm saying. I don't know why that was even a thing in the first place. I feel like it was really only a thing for him to be in the room to have knowledge of the impeachment case that was being lofted against Val. Because other than that, I don't see any reason for him to be in Congress.
Hey, turn your brain off. I need you to turn your brain off. So, how do you feel about them introducing? I can't say more characters. There's a hint that Mel may be a secret character, or she just may stay a side character. Person in the comics is she's a character. Like almost everybody's a
Yeah.
superhero
And I
character
mean,
in disguise.
if it comes
They're
out
all
that
heroes.
yeah, if it comes out that Mel's a recurring character and becomes a hero or becomes a anti-hero or something, or if there is a variant of Mel that is a listen, the actor, I thought she did a great job. I thought her
Talk
role,
about
I thought she played her role very well. She was even with the chemistry that she and Val had, where Val
it.
is the political boss who is treating Mel like an intern. Go get me coffee. Go schedule my
Yes,
appointments. Handle
yes.
all of my basically handle my light work. And for Mel to be like, okay, clearly she's starting to lose it. She's starting to fall off the
Turn
deep end.
super villain.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so I think I need to talk to somebody. And that
She was gonna kill her.
who's gonna kill
Remember?
who?
Bucky came in. He's like, "Where's Mel?" And it's like she had a loyalty problem or something. She said like
Well,
that. She
yeah, I didn't
wasn't
think
a.
I didn't know. I never thought that she was gonna kill her, but she did call her into question because I think that she overheard her phone call.
She heard something
But cause and then she didn't explicitly because Mel
because it
never
was right
explicitly said,
after.
yeah, because Mel never explicitly said exactly what was going on. She never like fully outed Val. But when she was like when they were in the watchtower and on the floor that was under
Oh yeah, we
construction,
got to call it that now.
yeah, because it's not the Avengers Tower anymore. It's the Watchtower. I guess
Not the
now,
Avengers
14
Tower.
months later, it's the Avengers Tower again. But when they were in the Watchtower, she came out from behind the tarps or whatever, and Val was just kind of like, listen to her. It's like, what did you think this was? What did you think you signed up for? And it was like a very
Mm.
real conversation. Like, you came into this. You are privy to everything
Eyes
that's
wide
going on.
open.
You know everything that I've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
You've been helping me clean this up.
Yep.
And now you want to play
Yes.
innocent? So you're not liable for any of this, or you're not found culpable in being a part of any of this? Like, you're just as much a part of this as I am. And you need
Mm.
to think about that and it come back to me when you understand which side of the line you're standing on. So I don't think Val was gonna kill her, but I think that she was telling us like either you shape up or just as you saw how I had no problems.
I'll put you in the furnace.
Exactly.
You in the
I had 4 hired assassins ready to take each other out. Do you think that I can't do the same to you? So
it's a phone call.
Mel gotta watch herself.
Is she the Viola Davis? I mean, excuse me, the Amanda Waller of the Marvel universe now?
I mean, I feel like the way that the post-credit scene sets up this rivalry of what's happening between Sam Wilson's Avengers and then Yelena's new Avengers. Sam gonna take him to court.
Yelena, huh?
But
I thought you was gonna say Bucky was in charge.
No,
yeah, Sam
Bucky is absolutely not in charge.
Y'all gonna stop using.
Y'all gonna stop using my name. We Avengers with the Z. It's not the same. It's not trademark. We're the Avengers. But I think it will eventually come down because it might be a situation between Nick Fury and a Valentina where Nick Fury might be the figurehead for Avengers and Valentina's the figurehead for the new Avengers. And yeah, it might come to that. And it might be that's how Doomsday starts off.
Versus New Avengers?
That might be how Doomsday starts off is Avengers versus New Avengers, and they're kind of going at it. But then once Doom comes into play, now they have a bigger opponent that they need to face, and so they need to come together.
And who else can bring the team together but the most dysfunctional ones himself that has gone to therapy? We've covered all our bases. We've dealt with trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Who else can come together but Sam and Bucky? Because they clearly yin yang balance each other's out.
But do they though?
To say Avengers? No, not at all.
Because Yelena asked Bucky, she was like, I thought you were going to talk to Sam. And Bucky's like, I did. It didn't go well. So Sam don't want to hear what Bucky have to say.
He's not playing it up. Because Bucky full of Sam. Bucky told Sam not to take the super soldier serum. Bucky full of shit. Sam knows. Sam is not playing. Sam said, y'all gonna stop using this to cease.
But here's the thing. So if Sam knows Bucky, Sam is familiar with Bucky, Sam knows that what Bucky did as the Winter Soldier was not him in control of his own mind, of his own faculties. And so if he knows that Bucky has aligned himself with a team and they all are of the same sort of, not that they were brainwashed, but they were under like certain similar situations.
No, dude, you aligned yourself with John Walker. You're going to tell me, oh no, he's cool now. No, he's cool.
You don't think that Sam wouldn't think that Bucky may have had a reason? Like, does he not trust Bucky enough to where if Bucky aligned himself with John, now I've written off John, so since you align yourself with John, I'm writing you off too.
Sam, well, we've seen what happened in What If. He'll cut Bruce off, so I'm sure he can cut Sam off. I mean, Bucky off too.
But I feel like he was closer to Bruce. I mean, he was closer to Bucky than Bruce.
You're not wrong, but Sam's gonna make you kind of hold your own. If I don't rock with him and you align yourself with him, I probably shouldn't rock with you. That's the American way. Captain American way.
But it just made me think because I feel like Steve would have gave them the benefit of the doubt and like invited them to be a part of the Avengers on a trial basis. And if you didn't prove yourself, then I'm not going to rock with you. But I feel like Sam is just like, no, fuck all y'all. My team is the Avengers. Y'all could do whatever it is that y'all want to do, but you cannot call yourself the Avengers. Pre-Vengers.
The Go-Vengers, or whatever y'all want.
The Go-Vengers.
The B-Vengers.
Something, but you're not the Avengers.
Yes.
I know we were talking about that when we reviewed What If, and these choices, like you were talking about Sam turning his back on Bruce, how uncharacteristic that is for Sam, because we just watched a whole movie of him trying to talk down Sidewinder, him trying to talk down a leader, him talking down Red Hulk. He is the because
he talked down Bruce in the What If,
and now he's refusing to talk to Bucky.
Ain't no talking.
I don't know. I find it weird.
Say they're tired of Sam talking.
I find it weird.
Call Matt Murdock. He's a lawyer. On trademark infringement. But I want to ask you the conclusion of the movie.
Yes.
You were saying, how do you feel about the hug it out situation?
I mean, it's a whole Deus Ex Machina thing. It's a circumstances to de-escalate the situation, and it just it's resolved so simply. Like, yes, it's a meaningful thing, but if the void can just be stopped with a hug each time, and it's like, what does that mean for future confrontations? Is it going to be a sun's getting real low just situation every single just time? You see Bob starting to wig out, his eyes start to get a little glossy, and everybody just run up and give him a group hug. And like,
you appreciate it, right? We love you.
They start rubbing his head. Sun's getting real low. Sun's getting real low. And it's like, is that how we? Okay. Is that how we do it? And I mean, I understand that the meaning of the resolution was that we had to show Bob that he's not alone, because that's what the void was constantly telling him. You're always going to be alone. No one's going to love you. This is your lot in life, and that's just the way that things are going to be. And it took a team of people, because Yelena can say it, and all the time, hey, I'm with you, I believe in you, I'm not going to leave you. But is a difference between her saying it and the whole Thunderbolts team showing it. It's like, because John was basically an asshole to him the entire time. What a plan, Bobby. Good job, Bob. It's like just a complete dick the entire time. But for even him to join in.
It's the serum. It amplifies you. Imagine how he was before.
He was less of an asshole because he wasn't amplified. That's what Dr. Erskine said. It makes good men great. It makes bad men worse. And so but
what's going on with Sentry? Because he has a version of the super soldier serum in him,
right? And it just amplified and with Sentry, it's a different beast, because he's always had this in him. So whoever he was, even before the experimentation, it was just kind of like the Moon Knight thing, is he had to deal with so much physical and emotional abuse growing up that he segmented his psyche. He created an entirely different persona to deal with those traumatic events. So Bob will be spared, where Void would take on the violence, take on the abuse, so that Bob didn't have to experience it. So that's why he said, he has these highs, and the highs are really great. But when he has these lows, they're really low. And then he comes out on the other side of it and doesn't even remember what happened. The whole situation that happened in the shame room, and the void just, I don't want to call it dusting people, but voiding people. Shadowing them, whatever you want to call it. Bob remembers none of that. He comes back and he's just like, cool. He's like, oh, we're on the street now. What happened? You guys look great. Wait, you look a little banged up. What happened? And it's like he has no recollection of anything that went on. And it's in such a way that, like I said, I don't know how you moving forward into the future of the MCU, like how do we control that? Not control in the sense of like somebody's controlling Sentry, but how does Bob get a hold of that to where he can be Sentry and help out, but without giving in to the void
You can't. And I think that's the takeaway that you're supposed to take away with, because again, if he can just fly in and solve all the problems,
Mm-hmm.
you don't need the rest of the team. There's no good story there.
Right.
It's not going to be a world of century. It's going to be a world of collective characters. Mm,
And so how do
mm.
we how do we how so it's a question of how do we get Sentry involved in Doomsday, and how do we nerf him to where it isn't that situation to where he can come in and just wipe the floor with anybody that approaches him.
Here's the thing. This To answer your question is easy. You already got your answer when you made the connection with Yelena. So if Yelena gets hurt, I'm sure Doctor Doom's doing it. Sentry's coming out. And so let's just say Doctor Doom beat the brakes off of Sentry.
Mm-hmm.
Can't see how it can happen, but this is maybe after he attained God level power.
Yeah, God
Then
Emperor
it's a
Doom.
different type of then it's a different type of conversation.
Right.
So beat the brakes off the Sentry. Now here comes the Void, who has a totally different power set,
Yes.
which is interesting. So it's really like a totally different, whole different fight.
So you,
Beats the snot out of him too, apparently, because
how though? Because
he has
if
to
if
win.
if the if the Void can just shadow people, how does Doom combat that? Like, how do you prevent yourself from being shadowed?
If you're
Because
in the
we
void, where are you going?
as we only saw,
Like we don't know where they went. They're mentally in some place.
yeah,
They're physically fine still because they came back. It wasn't
yeah,
like somebody came back different.
but
Just a placement of where they came back.
they only were able to come back once they subdued the Void and reverted him back to Bob. So
Mm-hmm.
if the Void shadows Doom and Doom basically kicks the Void ass in the Void, you know, and then
All
he
he
can
got to do
come
is
back.
hug him. All he got to do is hug him.
you
That's
you
all.
think Doom is gonna hug him and tell him it's okay?
It's gonna be okay. It's okay, buddy. Okay. No, you got to say it like Doom. It's gonna be. It's gonna be Iron Man.
So
Spider.
yes.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
Well,
ahead. No, go ahead.
before we get into our final question, I want to know, what did you think about the mid credit scene? Well, what do we think about the new name? And we had a mid credit scene. The mid credit scene is kind of throwaways, not really anything. But the post credit scene, because now we're getting back to form where our post credit scenes are directly tying
Mean
in.
something.
Yeah,
They mean
it's
something.
not just vague allusions and secret coded messages, and
Yeah.
we're actually
Yeah.
getting a concrete
Here's
showcase of what exactly we're looking at next. That was a long sigh.
all this all this summer. I'm sick of Marvel ruining every movie for me. Okay?
Mm,
I'm sick of it. I'm
okay.
just sick of it. I'm just sick of it. Cause I'm I'm here for why are you like the chair release and you putting these Fantastic Four Easter eggs or tie-ins at the end of the Thunderbolts is a direct tie-in. Yeah, but it's before the movie first steps. We don't know if they survived, if they did not survive in the sense of the Fantastic Four. I'm talking about the other people on the planet or on the
Mm-hmm.
timeline or in the dimension. Did they survive? And the Fantastic Four is like, all right, we saved y'all, and we see he going somewhere else, so we got to go over there to try to save them, and that's heroic. Or is it a situation where they just couldn't figure it out, knew they was coming, and this is a way we can get out of here, so we're out, and everybody dies, and Reed feels guilty about that because the smartest man in the world couldn't save the world. We go die, but he could save himself though and his family because they gone. People gonna die. I just wish Marvel stopped spoiling
So you
their
think
properties. Like
that that's spoiled first steps?
for me, out of one of those two or three options happen. Either You couldn't save the world, and
Mm-hmm.
you left because we see them approaching like you showed me in the trailer we
Yeah,
broke down,
we
which
saw
is
them. Yeah,
in what is
and we
yeah.
saw them approaching a planet that looks like it was being destroyed. We still don't know if necessarily that was Earth or if it happened to be some other planet.
Yeah,
But yes,
well, they could be watching the destruction of the animal planet from the High Evolutionary. We don't know. We don't know, and that's the thing. Marvel could be that might not even be in the movie.
eh, very
They
true.
change stuff all the time.
Yeah,
They change the game, but by changing stuff. So who knows what's happening? Did they save the Earth that they were on, the retro '60s Earth? Did they not save it? Did they save it and leave? Or for reasons to save other worlds? I don't know. I feel like it's one of those scenarios, and I didn't have those scenarios in my mind before I seen them definitely show up in the 616 because the Thunderbolts with the asterisks, or excuse me, the New Avengers.
mm-hmm.
I'm calling them with the Z because Sam said he was gonna make his team first, and that's our Captain America. Captain America forms the Avengers. All right, so I don't know what Bucky's doing. He should have never signed up for that. But
Uh,
then the government approved him.
yeah,
So that's weird. The president was the one that told Sam to put the Avengers back together again.
yeah.
Sam decided he was going to put the Avengers back together again because the president became a big rage Hulk monster. He stepped down.
Mm-hmm.
Sam still said he was going to put the team back together again. Clearly, they're not in Avengers Tower. I don't. Sam needs a buyer. He needs a backer. He needs some financials.
Well, I mean, he had his office in D.C., but I mean, he was also working as an extension of the Air Force too. So I don't know if they still have their. Do they still have their building in upstate New York? The Avengers
You mean the one
facility?
that Thanos blew up?
Yeah, because I mean, they
Last
were they were supposedly cleaning up the area. That's where they got the DNA from all the Avengers and gave it to fucking the girl and the woman in Secret Invasion.
Gaia, Gaia,
Yeah, that's
the harvest,
yeah, all of
which
that.
all the blood was white. All of it. They stripped it down.
But
That was pure, clear. Sorry, it was transparent. It was see-through, like
yeah.
water in a tube. Sorry.
But for me, I would say that because we still have those questions, like you said, those three different scenarios of what could potentially happen. I feel like
Maybe
it,
Galactus ate.
it's it's telling, but it's not a spoiler because I think that we all knew that Fantastic Four was going to be involved in Doomsday somehow. So
Of
at some
course,
point
you
they
can't
were
have a
going to
Doctor
be
Doom movie without.
right, and at some point they were going to get brought into the 616 universe. So I think seeing their ship approaching the planet, I don't really feel like, for me, I don't really feel like it's a spoiler because we still don't know what happened to bring them to our universe. Like you say, it could be a situation where they couldn't save the planet and they evacuated only themselves, or they couldn't have
Maybe
saved the
they're
planet
chasing Doom.
and maybe they are chasing Doom and Doom is headed to our planet. We don't know. But for me, what what did spoil it was because you're watching the credits and it gets to the soundtrack section, and one of the songs, because it has all of the songs that happen in the movie, is like, oh, this song, performed by this person, written, composed, all this other
Yeah,
kind of stuff. And it
right. Yeah.
had Fantastic Four theme composed by Michael Giacchino. And I leaned over and I told Michelle, I was like, oh, the post credit scene is going to be Fantastic Four. She was like, did you look it up? I was like, no, I didn't look it up. It was right there listed as the music. I was like, we didn't hear the Fantastic Four
It's
theme anywhere else in the movie. So it has to be in a
oh
post
no.
credit. It has to be in a post credit scene. But the build up to seeing them, like the little banter between all of them, I thought was still pretty funny. Because
Oh yeah, they're the new
it was
Guardians
like,
now.
now we have to deal with
John is
space.
talking straight up.
And John's like, we're running out of space? This tower is huge. How can we run out of space? Yelena turns back at him. Outer space. And the only thing that I didn't get is, and this is, so my theory is that we were looking at a new Avengers from a different universe. Because first of all,
so where you going? Oh, hold on. This the theory slap time. Theory. I forgot what we call our theory stuff. Where are we going with this?
but
Secret
so
theory.
here's the thing.
What's going
So
on?
I know that it was because it was 14 months after the announcement that Val made in New York that this team is now the new Avengers.
Why does the door open that way? Why does the door open? It feels unnecessary for it to go sideways and then up. But okay,
You got to be extra with
just
it.
open. But like
You could.
well, it's maybe it's lockable. I don't know.
But
Maybe it's secure.
so in my mind, the floor that they were on is literally the only floor that we ever go on in Avengers Tower, right? Because in Avengers in 2012, that was the floor that Loki threw Tony out the window, and and now this is this was also the same. This was supposedly the same room where the bar was, where Ultron came out, and that's where they had the fight in Age of Ultron. That's so this is the room that they fight in Sentry in, and all this other kind of stuff. So this
same room, Bruce Banner and Natasha kind of started hitting it off.
Yeah, and so one thing that was always there was the bar, right? The bar was always present.
Stan Lee got drunk. Yep.
Yeah. But so in this version where we see them, even though it doesn't say that there's a different universe designation, this room is so drastically different than what we've seen in the other iterations of Avengers Tower, aka the Watchtower. But not only that, Ghost and Bucky's hair was very feathered. It had a very 80s Farrah Fawcett look to it. Not just Bucky, but Bucky and Ghost. So it wasn't like it was just a stylistic choice for one of them. It seemed like it was for both of them. And it just seemed like this was variant versions of them from what we saw in the movie as a whole. Now, I could be wrong, but
it was 18 months later.
14 months later. No. And I understand this is 14 months later. A lot of things can change in 14 months. But what I'm thinking is that because Sam is so unwilling to work with Bucky in this team of the New Avengers, maybe this is a variation of the Sam Wilson that we know, who is more protective of the Avengers name than to give it to another group or even combine with the other group. Why not we all be Avengers, right? We can have one Avengers team. The Avengers were never just a certain sect of people. Like we said when we got to Endgame, everybody that was on that line that came out of those portals when Steve said Avengers Assemble, they were all Avengers at that moment in time. So it was never just constrained to 6 people or constrained to just a small team. They picked up people along the way. So I'm thinking
it's a weird dynamic that Marvel decided to do. Go ahead. Tell us what you think.
So I'm thinking that this is a different variation. This is a different Earth. This isn't 616. This is a new one. And with the Fantastic Four coming into their atmosphere, this is the Fantastic Four universe hopping. This is a wormhole, some wormhole hopping technology that Reed perfected, and they are either chasing Galactus or fleeing Galactus, one of the two. But they are either looking for different Reeds to create the Council of Reeds to try to combat Galactus or combat Doctor Doom, or they're fleeing.
Watching the Council of Reeds come together.
Right. We could be potentially seeing that. And we can see an Ian Grufford and a Miles Teller and a John Krasinski all come back as different variants of Reed Richards. Either that or they were trying to escape Galactus and got knocked off course, and something happened. When we see in the trailer when Reed is holding Sue and she's like phasing in and out and there's sparks and shit flying all over, because remember, this is a Fantastic Four that has already been established as already having their powers.
Yes.
They've already been
Yes.
established as these famous superheroes. So when he's holding
Also,
her
yes.
and there's all these sparks going off, then I'm thinking that they're trying to get away from Galactus. Something happens, and maybe Sue's going into labor. So with all of her pain and all of this stuff that's going on with her body, she can't control her invisibility. So they're frantically trying to get away. The ship got hit. It's damaged. Sue's about to go into labor, about to have the baby. So she's fluctuating in and out. And then something happens. Their little wormhole particle machine goes on the fritz, knocks them through a wormhole. And now they wake up, or they show up in a new universe.
Yeah, but why'd they leave?
That's what I'm saying. They're trying to they're trying to escape Galactus, or they're chasing Galactus.
Like
Either way, I think that
to go into space.
I mean, Reed considers himself the smartest man in the universe. He thinks that he knows best above all else. So I'm sure that he was like, "You're fine. You'll be okay." But no, I think that I do think that their Earth gets destroyed. I do think that their Earth gets destroyed.
We talked about this last time, Spider. Do you come back from that as a hero? Is that now the next story that we're going to tell? Since we talked about depression, how we're going to rise from such an epic fall?
I think that it's going to be the driving motivation for whatever Reed is doing in Doomsday. That's going to be that's going to be the thing that he can't let go of. What could he have done different to prevent Galactus? And I think that in his attempts to research the power of Galactus and everything that he could do, he's going to stumble upon Dr. Doom, or Dr. Doom is going to stumble upon him, something like that.
It is said that Marvel can't do villains.
Oh, we already know that that's not true.
Well, track record, Killmonger, Thanos.
I would say Killmonger, Zemo, and Thanos are probably their top 3 villains in the MCU.
Zemo dancing on you.
That's after the fact. That's it. Falcon and Winter Soldier.
It'll be interesting what they do with Dr. Doom, because do you feel as though they nailed the villain in Thunderbolts * our New Avengers?
Because I don't think that there was a villain,
you just can't punch and shoot
per se, but there were definitely antagonists. There were antagonists in The Void, and there were antagonists in Val. And I think that the two of them, I think that they were done very well. I think that by the time that Val cornered Mel and was having that whole conversation, like, what did you think this was? Like, what did you think you were doing here? Like that intensity, and then her going into Bob's room and like coddling him and trying to be like motherly and all this other kind of stuff, and then like turn on him and was like, well, you answer to me now. And just her flippant nature with Congress. And I thought that it was never, her motivations were never called into question. It never was like, okay, well, what are you trying to do as a villain? And she's basically a better version of Justin Hammer, right? Because where Hammer was just this tech magnate trying to recreate the Iron Man suit, this is a person who's actively sitting in a director position in a U.S. government agency, and she's has a black site where she's experimenting on human beings, shows she can create her own superhero that's going to...
She do that in her downtime.
Right, on off days. But it's going to, she's trying to create a superhero that's going to eclipse the Avengers, that she can control, so she can maintain a position of power no matter where she is in the world. And I think that is very lofty goals that she tried to achieve. But like I said, it was never a question of, is she capable of doing it? Because everything that Val has shown from every single time that we've seen her, she's just always been on it. I don't think I've ever seen a situation. But I don't think I've ever seen a situation where Val prior to her getting choked by Sentry, I don't think there was ever a situation where Val wasn't in control and she didn't have an answer to what was happening. Even when she was sitting in front of Congress and they were like, well, we're going to launch this investigation and we're going to make sure that we're going to leave no stone unturned. And she's like, go ahead, investigate me. You're not going to find anything. And then it cuts and then she's like, shit, we're fucked. She's like, we need to get rid of everything. Like, even in that, even though she knows that she's playing defense now and she has to get rid of all this evidence, it was still, she knew exactly what she had to do. She knew exactly who she needed to call. She knew exactly how she had to execute it. And it would have gone over perfectly had Yelena and John and Ghost not started talking to each other. If they wouldn't have opened Bob's case, then they would have all been dead and Val would have been fine. And she would have been gotten away scot-free.
Isn't that the thing though, when you're trying to prevent these things from happening, you end up making them happen?
Yeah. I mean, and that's just a common movie trope. Yeah.
I got a question for you. You mentioned Moon Knight earlier, and I thought about it because we were having a conversation. And I promise I'll ask you the final question after this question, but this is deep. This is kind of in that theory area, right?
Right.
Thor 1, early MCU.
Okay.
Explaining to Jane, your ancestors called it magic. Where I'm from, we called it, y'all call it science, your ancestors call it magic. I'm from a place where it's the same thing. Right? That was a big line. They held on to that. That's a big one.
Right.
Khonshu has the avatar.
Right.
In Mark Spector and, all the other aliases that, he is. He's Moon Knight. Is what Moon Knight is on as the avatar of Khonshu just a cosmic souped up version of a super soldier serum?
Wait, say that again?
Okay. Khonshu.
Right.
The Egyptian god deity.
The moon god.
Yes. Has an avatar.
Moon Knight.
He has an avatar. Moon Knight. Moon Knight can do incredible things as Moon Knight.
Right.
Not Jake. Not the other one. Just Moon Knight. Mr. Knight and the full cowl and everything. Moon Knight.
Right.
Flip, spin, accuracy. Moon's on his chest. La la la. So maybe some magic into the replica of, I don't know, maybe a pocket dimension. I don't know. But his abilities come from him being Khonshu's avatar.
Right.
But are we looking at a situation where science and magic are the same thing? Where what's really has happened is Khonshu has given a cosmic version of a super soldier serum inside of Mark Spector, making him Moon Knight.
I mean, I don't...
Because we got super soldier serums, got different variations doing different stuff. Nobody got what Steve got, but Steve did give his blood. They show that in First Avenger. He's like, you think you got enough? Where that vial goes, I don't know. But there's so many different versions now. Hulk is a super soldier serum.
Yeah.
Walker got a different version that came from Magic 4. Bucky got fancy Hydra ones. Red Guardian had the Russian ones. There's a lot. So I'm just saying, I'm throwing it out there that Khonshu maybe has his own version of super soldier serum.
No, I don't.
Science and
I don't think that. I don't think that there's really any science involved in that one because it's
magic.
It's personality based, right? Because outside of him transforming into Moon Knight or Mr. Knight, does he still retain any of those abilities? Because like Moon Knight can get shot and be okay, but can Mark Spector get shot and recover from it without having to transform? Because we saw in Moon Knight that Mark Spector was about to die. And it wasn't
Yes.
until Khonshu gave him the power of the Avatar that he was able to recover from it. So I think that's more
Yes, but at the
magic
same
spiritual
time,
based than science based because it's not a part of his
but at the same
physiology.
time, Conchu is an asshole though, because
I mean, I don't
didn't
know
he
if that
start
has anything
target?
to do with it.
Yes, it does because he targeted Mark as a child, and the voices that came in his head to make him kind of go crazy was like Conchu.
Was it Khonshu or was it a fractured psyche from the abuse that he had to deal with his mom?
It's clear the MCU don't like parents. Marvel don't
I
like
mean,
parents at
Disney
all.
doesn't
Disney
like
don't
parents.
like
That's
parents.
the whole thing.
That's
Disney
why
doesn't like parents.
the, the parent trap. I'm just saying, his name is in the title. I was just throwing that theory out there because yes, it does have a part to play on his psyche, but at the same time, since you've been working with him so young, you seen the leader was only working with Hulk. I mean Red Hulk, Thaddeus Ross for that time that he imprisoned him, and then he's not the leader's avatar, but he manipulated him to a point that he's a mutate, not a mutate
Yeah, then
into the Red
that's
Hulk.
science. That's in Ross's
That's
physiology.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, but no, it's different. It's different because
Of course, it's
it's
different.
yeah,
It's
but
got magic involved in it.
you're asking me is it the same? And I'm telling you it's different.
No, what I'm saying is the same, but it's the same because of here's what I'm saying. Conchu has a different version of his own super soldier serum that he gives to his avatar,
But
and he
it's
gave it
not a
to Mark.
serum. It's not a serum.
No, it's cosmic.
It's just
Be my
powers.
avatar.
It's because I think that if you are, and here's the thing, like we were talking about the difference between mutants and mutates, where as a mutant,
Yes.
this is something that is genuinely within you, within your DNA, that turns you into something else. Now, whether it's something that
Yes.
manifests itself in a physical change or if it just manifests itself as an ability that you have, that's just something that's in your DNA. Your mutates are something that you had to be injected, bitten, something that's been added to your DNA to change you. Now, with Red Hulk, this is something that is in his DNA now because his DNA is now gamma infused. Same way with Hulk, same way with Steve Rogers. This is all something that's been injected into their system, something that has rewritten their
Yes.
DNA to give them superhuman abilities.
Yes.
Whereas
Yes.
Moon Knight, it's not in his DNA. This is a certain
I think
circumstance.
it is.
But if it's in his
I think
DNA,
if
then he
Mark
should be able to
Spector,
do it at any point in time. Mark Spector would be able to
I
leap
think
and fly and fight just the same as Moon Knight.
I don't think Mark Spector can die. I think
I don't think he
any
can
death
either,
or
but I
near
think that's
close to death.
because Moon Knight will take over and save his life before he would perish.
Yes.
But I don't think that that's because of a
So here
scientific addition to it. It's a magical addition.
it's okay. I'll give you that one.
Yeah,
I'll give you that one
I'm
because
not saying that it's I'm not saying
inside
that
of the
it's not something that has been added to him because yes, it was something that was given to him that changed him, but it's not science. No, it's definitely not science.
okay, I can accept that. It's magical, spiritual, Egyptian based.
Yes.
We don't see it. It could have We see Mark die again for the second time. Um, and then time stops, and then obviously he's something interesting. It could be Egyptian smoke, and then he's the Moon Knight, and his rib cage become armor and bandages and
Yeah.
numbing.
Because if you are manifesting an entire suit out of nothing, that's absolutely magic.
That's what I'm saying. It's a mixture of magic and science. And before you
Well,
throw
and,
that
and it,
theory out, Doctor Doom is a mixture of magic and science.
no, and I'm not saying that the existence of magic and science the combination of magic and science doesn't exist. I'm not saying that, but I think
Okay.
that Moon Knight's situation is purely magic. Just like, and I'll retract my statement about a suit coming out of nowhere because, well, I mean, it wasn't out of nowhere because I'm
It
thinking
does come
of
out of
Iron
nowhere.
Man and Black Panther suit because it's nanotech. But even with the nanotech, it was still housed in a physical thing first and then spread out
Yes.
from that. But with Moon Knight, it's literally coming from nothing and manifesting itself as a suit onto his body. So I think that is, yeah, that is a difference between magic and science. Science, like the nanosuits with Iron Man and Black Panther, is still emanating from a particular item first and then surrounding itself around the host. Whereas Moon Knight is just like literally magically appearing and conforming to his body.
I recently saw an episode of the Mighty Avengers or the Avengers of one of the animations, and it had so funny that you said that. I think it was Avengers Unlimited. I don't know. It was animation.
Mm-hmm.
So
I need to go
they
back
were
and watch
fighting
those
a
too.
magical. They're good. They were fighting somebody with magic, and Captain America was telling Iron Man it is magic. We're in trouble. And then Tony Stark is like, magic is
Magic is
just
just
science
science we
that I
don't
haven't
understand
figured
yet.
out
Mm-hmm.
yet. So that kind of got me,
Yeah, and I can understand that, and I think that's the mentality that a lot of people have had for a long time, and just because your people who are of an analytical mindset have a hard time grasping magic, or not grasping it, but have a hard time accepting magic because it's like it has
of
to
course,
it has to occur from something from somewhere. Things don't just appear out of thin air, right? It has to, there's some type of trick to it. There's some type of, device or something. It comes from something. Because like we were
mm,
talking about before, energy can't be, created or
destroyed.
destroyed, only repurposed. It comes from somewhere. It's emanating from something. And so until we understand exactly where it's coming from or how it was created, it's just science that we don't have a full grasp on. But no, I'm with you.
That's
I see what you're saying.
super soldier cosmic juice. That's what I was saying. That's all I was saying. It's potentially.
Yeah, I don't
So
I
this
don't think it I don't
Ash
think it's a super soldier serum. A form of a super soldier. It is a form of augmentation. Yes, it is absolutely a form of augmentation. It is strengthening
a
him. Is
meteor
giving him
came and hit the
abilities.
planet of Africa, and the goddess Bass talked to the first Black Panther
Hmm.
and say, "Eat this goddamn heart shaped herb and take into my Black
I would
Pantherness,
say
and you'll
that
have the
that
powers
is
of
a
the Black Panther."
mixture of magic and science. I would say that that's a combination of magic and science because it is a physical thing that you're intaking into your body to change your physiology, but it is a thing that's naturally grown that's giving you abilities, right? So, but it's
Mm.
something that came from space. So, I mean, is that even magic or
But
is it just
it
science?
it came from space, but the spiritual part was Bass,
Right,
which brings in the magic.
right.
Screw you, Marvel. Run something else. Spider, is this movie the Thunderbolts with the asterisks, not the New Avengers? Because that's not the name of the movie that we saw.
I mean, it is the name of
Is
the
it
movie
Super?
now. Maybe we saw
But
it
they're
too
covering up
early.
posters. It's like, nah, we don't want that name no more. That's
Is
a
it
lot of
super?
marketing material.
Is it super? Is it super? Is it super? Is it super?
Yeah, that's a big question because people are saying Marvel is back. We got quality movies again. Take your girl to see the Thunderbolts asterisks because Bucky Barnes is in it hitting on underage women.
She's not underage, and he was not hitting on her. He was trying to extract
Right.
information. I don't know where you're getting
I
this
will I will
idea.
I will say this. I will say this. If you guys go back and look at our Thunderbolts trailer, I did make a prediction that Yelena and Bucky get together, and that did not happen.
It did
We
not
admit
happen.
when we're wrong. We admit when we're wrong. I
We are
was
the show that
wrong.
admits that we're wrong.
Yeah,
But
we're not like those other shows that won't admit when they're wrong.
yeah, uh, yeah, I thought it was super.
You thought it
I
was?
thought I thought it had a very healthy
Eh.
balance of action, of humor, and of heart. That, like I said, I was not prepared for
Ooh,
the emotional tie-ins and the
fresh.
the discussions of mental health and how
Mm,
living a life unfulfilled can impact you and impact your decisions and impact the way that you go about. Because like Yelena's saying, I wake up, I go do my job, I come home by myself, I drink, go to bed, and I wake up and I do it all over again. And how relatable is that for so many people who feel like they're just
yeah,
stuck in this never ending cycle of just over and over
yeah.
and over again, and just would love to have something to make their lives feel meaningful, at least not necessarily to say,
Mm,
I have to go out and do something huge and boisterous so I can give my life meaning, but just to for me to be able to do something to feel like my life has meaning, to feel like I matter, to feel like I'm having some type of impact on this world, to where everything that I've done in my past, everything that I've fucked up, everything that I've done wrong, all my mistakes aren't so overbearing, right? And to be able to put that into a movie, and at the same time having Alexa yelling out, Yelena, it's your dad. Like, just these funny moments and them sitting in the back of the box truck, and it's like, so what's the deal with your hat there? It's like, oh, my hat, my helmet. It's like, I mean, I think it looks cool. Well, I mean, do you like it? Well, do you like it? And I'm like, yeah, I think it's all right.
mm,
And I'm like,
mm,
okay. And it's like
mm.
those type of things,
And then see
and
him change from a
and right, and
hat
then
to
at
the
the end of the movie,
beret.
he changed from the helmet to now he has a beret, and it's like he's like, fuck, this hat's not working. And I don't think that,
Mm.
did he wear it for the rest of the movie after that? I think he might have took it off for the rest of the movie after that. But
Yeah, clearly, you know, she didn't judge it, but
no,
she
she didn't
brought
judge it. She was
attention
just
to
like,
it.
I just want to know if you like it, I love it. If that's your choice. I'm not. It's
Yeah, I don't
and
think she cared
she doesn't
that
care.
much.
She was just asking about it, and she's just like, you sound unsure, but do you like the helmet? And maybe he did like the helmet, but he
I
wore it
mean,
because that's
it's
what
cool,
Captain
right?
America wore. And
That's what they
so
told him to wear.
exactly. So
I
who
love how
knows?
they put Wyatt Russell on the side of the Disney Up guy. They said they had the same face in
They
that
do have
scene.
the same face.
Ah,
I remember when we
oh
were
man.
watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and he came out because it was what, the end of episode 1, right? When he came out with the shield
Yeah.
and helmet on. That's exactly what his face looked like. Because from that angle, it was just like so square, and then the helmet was squishing everything down. And but because I'm looking at a picture of him on
uh,
IMDb right now, and he doesn't have that face. His face doesn't look like that, but
no,
the helmet
at
absolutely
all.
made it look like that. Um, but no, I thought that it was very well written. It was very well paced. I thought that the action scenes were great. Like I said, the fight choreography between all of them fighting in the furnace, and then all of them trying to fight Bob. Like I said, the movie itself was very light on
What
action.
do you think about the uniforms?
I feel like
Yes,
the
uniforms. What do you think about the
uniforms at the
uniforms?
end
Because you
were
know,
negligible almost. I mean, I feel like the one
okay,
that really
okay,
stood out the most was maybe Bucky's, because Bucky had the red
really?
star on his arm, but it wasn't on his vibranium arm. It was on his other arm on his sleeve, but it was a segmented star, just the same way that the
Oh
star
no,
on Sam's shield is segmented.
really?
So I felt like that was
So
probably the most noticeable thing. But everybody else's uniform, I felt was like, I mean, didn't really take it or leave it. I mean, just
I don't know.
it
I
was what
was
it was.
feeling Taskmaster's new mask because from the old Black Widow to the new mask now, I just thought the new mask was nice.
Yeah,
Ghost
it
has a
was
new
it was it
mask,
was
has a new
less
deal uniform.
like skull ish, because it didn't really have like all the teeth that the other one had.
Yes, so you're talking about Taskmaster,
Yeah. Are you talking about Ghost?
which makes me kind of excited to see. Well, I'm talking about both.
Oh,
Yes, I
okay.
think we lost audio. So I was talking about Taskmaster, then I started talking about Ghost because Ghost Mask is new too. She
Yes.
went from the tri glasses or the triocular lens for
Yeah, which
like
I never
more of
really
a
understood in Ant-Man and the Wasp, but to each their own. But yeah, it was like
it's a
more of a
design
full
choice.
visor type thing. Yeah, no, I think that the improvements were a lot better than what their initial costumes were. Um, I mean, yeah,
Atlanta
all
has
of their outfits were
the
great.
widow's bites.
Yeah,
John Walker has this shield that no, he didn't have the shield the last time we saw him. So the shield was new for him.
yeah.
Which Century decided to just make a taco.
And why didn't he ever
And
fix it? If this is for
because he can't bring Century out.
so, but you have again
Well,
three super soldiers on
well,
your team, and could not one of them bend it back into shape? Or now that we have this entire new facility, can you not get a new shield?
why do we have Bob and not Century if he was already Century?
Because you could revert
Like
it back to
he's
Bob.
Century. You can't revert back to Bob. You're Century. You are already Century. We understand there's Century and there's a Void. This is not this. You're not Moon Knight. There's not Bob, Century, and the Void. When you came out, you were Century. You didn't know you were Century. That's fine. But you know that you're Century when you're Century. Because you said, guys, I don't want to hurt you. So you know who they are. Bob knows that you're Century.
Mm-hmm.
The Void knows that you're Century. Why are you Bob now?
Because we have to
You
nerf
were never
Sentry.
Bob.
We have to nerf Sentry, because if not, then Sentry can just, like you said, he can just fly in, resolve all issues, and then be done with it.
But you're Century.
You're Bob.
Spider, if you take off your shirt and put a different shirt on, are you not still Spider?
Yeah, I am. But it was the hair too. It was the hair too. The hair reverted, so that was brought him back to Bob.
Okay.
But Mr. VIP Frankie Washington, when it comes to
Yes, sir.
the Thunderbolts, asterisk, footnote, New Avengers, for you, is it super?
No. I was on the fence. No, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. It's the movie that you didn't know that you needed. It's the movie that is on, not the movie, but it's the movie that is on the path of the comeback to Marvel. We got Agatha all along, that was a winner. We had X-Men 97, that was a winner. We got Daredevil Born Again. Questionable. But it's on a path. So sometimes there's some rocks on the path. This is not a bad entry on the path. It's the movie that I think people should see. I just don't think it hit that pinnacle of super because of things like that. Because I don't understand really what. Okay, so this is a small section and it's grounded, yes. But you have, like we said earlier, this is an Avengers level threat. Like, people are turning into shadow dust.
Mm-hmm.
Where are the Avengers? Like, where's Doctor Strange? Like, even though if you're not the Sorcerer Supreme, is Bleecker Street just empty now? Where are those interns that was cleaning up all the snow? Clearly, we see where they kids that all of them go through portals and they can go back and forth between the temple and whatever. But somebody should be doing something. Where's Spider-Man in this? Like, you have this connected universe. This is in New York. This isn't in Jersey, or this is right outside Avengers Tower.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what I say. We talked about that last time. You have these universes, and you're not, even though all of this stuff is taking place in New York, you're not going to see all these other heroes showing up because this is not about them. And to have them show up, just to have, if you have Doctor Strange show up in a Thunderbolts movie
wrong.
to help them defeat the primary antagonist, it takes away from everything that you built up leading up to that final scene. Because this is supposed to be us watching them come together to be able to overcome this threat. And then if you have Doctor Strange just whooshing like, oh, I was in Comertage and now I understand what was going on and I'm here to help. And then he
How about
stops it.
this?
It's
How
like,
about
well,
you show me? How about you show me Doctor Strange dealing with it and he getting like either his ass handed to him or portaled away, and show that he's not a threat. The Thunderbolts have to handle this because again, there's a personal connection between Yelena and Bob. I'm there for it.
mm-hmm.
So she's gonna have to son's getting real low and hug him down. But in the meantime, in between time, get get Iron Fist to run out here and be like, hey, stop, and then punch, and then he turned to goddamn ash or dust or
Yeah, but then you
stain
gotta
on
you gotta pay all these
the
other
to a
actors too.
stain. Well, if you stop making a $300 million movie on CGI, you can pay some of these actors to
I
do
mean, they did
cameos.
a lot of the stuff that they had in this movie, save for the Sentry fight. A lot of the stuff they did was practical.
Hey, I will say this: those action scenes, they were on point. They were. They were on point. Story wise, it's not a bad one. It's just got a lot of little should that have happened type of thing
Mm-hmm.
where you had to turn your brain off. I know, I had to turn it off. Just turn it off and enjoy what I'm seeing. It was a good movie. It wasn't a super movie.
It's
And
fair.
they're on the way to, making a super movie, potentially. But this wasn't it. This wasn't it. This was an enjoyable movie. I enjoyed it. I enjoy seeing Yelena. I enjoy seeing Florence Pugh do her thing all the time. Sebastian Stan brought it. David Harbour brought it. All these guys brought it. It's not a bad movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's the movie that they needed to tell for the story that they wanted to tell. And it's still a message, which all good movies do have an underlying theme, and they woven it into the story so much so that it's a commercial for depression. I felt like if you would have had, like in the WandaVision, if you would have had a little ad down at the bottom and everybody hugged, whatever
what was the
pharmaceutical that was, it would have
yeah, I was
shot
about to say
up.
what was the medicine called? Rexall or something like that?
Hey, I think it has anal leakage or something, so I don't want no part of those. I don't want no part of those subscriptions where the side effects is worse than the affliction that you had.
Yeah.
So I'm good. I'm good over here. So I just said for that, yes. Thank you, Marvel, for the fandom. For anybody that's dealing with depression, again, you could have put a 1-800 number at the end of it, and calls would have started rolling in because it was an advertisement for, hey, it's okay and it's not your fault, and we're gonna hug it out because we need to buy time because we don't know what we're really doing right now. You got to remember when this was shot, the pandemic was like just ending, so
This was well
we
after the
don't really
pandemic.
know. You're right.
This was
I
at
remember
least
Florence Pugh was
2023 when
doing
it
the.
started.
You're absolutely right. This is true. This is when they were starting to trying to turn the gears. All right, you got it. Go see the Thunder New Avengers.
The Thunder New Avengers with the Z.
I don't want to see. I want to see what Sam's gonna do. I'm excited about what's coming next. I'll say that.
Okay.
There was a point in time I was wondering what we were doing. Now, as they start to Betsy Ross, these storylines together, it's starting to get interesting because the Fantastic Four is here now. We finally have them potentially in the 616.
We don't know.
We got
Possibly.
we got Hulk that's on vacation. I don't know. He's raising his kid. At some point in time, they got to play together, and I think that's exactly what we're gonna get when we get to Doomsday and Secret Wars. What's going to happen after Doomsday and Secret Wars? Don't worry about it. We're going to focus a lot on the X Men. So much so that you're going to miss all that chaos that was happening with the Avengers.
Well,
Here's a question.
yeah, what's up?
Here's a question. How many more new characters you think Marvel's going to drop
Between
before
now
Doomsday and
and
Secret Wars?
between Doomsday and Secret Wars?
before Doomsday and Secret Wars, because you got new characters. You got well, it's Thunderbolts, but they're the new Avengers.
I mean, the only other films that you have coming out,
Sentry is
you
new.
have Sentry's
Sentry
new.
was new.
You have all of Fantastic Four, Silver Surfer, Galactus.
Shang-Chi is when? Shang-Chi 2,
Shang-Chi's
for
2's I
those
don't
who.
think is coming out before Doomsday.
Okay, you're right about that. So what's the last ones that come out? That was
Um,
it. This
yeah,
was it.
that's
What?
really it. You don't really
First
have anything
steps?
else. First steps, and
Yeah.
then Doomsday in 2026.
Well, Franklin Richards. And then with
Well, I
Valeria
mean,
Richards.
yeah, Franklin
So
is
you
going to be a
probably
part
give those
of,
to the young
but I
Avengers.
don't think that he's going to, unless we do a time jump. Then I don't think we're going to get. I don't think we're going to get a real introduction to Franklin, because I mean he'll still be a
Well,
baby.
we did. We just did a 18-month time jump.
14
Clearly,
months.
they don't have a problem playing with time.
Yeah,
Yep,
but I
14
mean,
months.
well, if you're talking about
And
a
then
time jump from Franklin being born to us seeing what type of powers he has, I mean, how old is he when his powers manifest?
he can warp universes as a baby. So immediately.
So, I mean,
And that's the worst thing, right? Because you got a kid with this ungodly like amount of power. And how can you not? I don't even want. He could sneeze and
so
I'm somebody else now.
he might be the reason they jumped universes. His
What do you
powers
mean?
manifest when he's born, but if he's born while they're on the ship, that might be the reason that they hop universes.
What Spider? I didn't want to give it all to him. Since you gave it to him, this is why they come to. This is why they come to the show because they get these type of
But as far
stories.
as movies are
We
concerned,
called it.
there are no films slated between Fantastic Four First Steps and Avengers Doomsday. But for television shows, we have Eyes of Wakanda supposed to come out in August, Marvel Zombies supposed to come out in October, Wonder Man supposed to come out in December, and then Daredevil Born Again supposed to come out March 2026. So season 2 of Daredevil. So all of that is supposed to come out before Doomsday. And per the per Games Radar, they have an article that says that Doomsday is set 14 months after Thunderbolts. So when the post-credit scene that we see that's 14 months later, that is supposed to be the start or the beginning, somewhere around the start of the Doomsday movie.
We'll see. This is what I'm about to say for those who are listening.
Yeah.
We got these TV shows coming. These TV shows are canon in a sense of underneath Marvel's umbrella. So we'll see if it continues to start to lay the foundation of Marvel being back, or are they little cracks inside of the foundation of Marvel not having stability and saying they're back? I said what I said. I ain't apologizing for what I said. I said it. And I appreciate him for allowing me to.
Well,
But we'll see. There's a
any
lot of
right, yeah.
talented people that's under that umbrella.
There are a lot, and we'll continue on with the future of the MCU to see exactly where they go. But we have been running a little bit long. But just remember, if you like this video and
On
you
this
like
show? Us?
yes,
Us? Run long? On
but
this show?
let us know what you thought about the Thunderbolts, aka New Avengers. If you liked it, if you thought it was super or not. But just remember, if you like this video, go ahead, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you can be notified when we have new episodes that come out. If you want the audio version of the podcast, just search for All Things Super on your favorite podcast streaming platform. And if you want to reach out to us on social media, just click the link in the description below.
leave a message and we'll read it. That part.
That part. But yeah, so we will see exactly what happens. We only have what? This is May, so 2 months and 20 days from the date of us recording this episode before we get the Fantastic Four first steps, and then we'll be able to connect the tissue from the Thunderbolts to Fantastic Four to Doomsday, and we're probably going to get a post-credit scene or a late scene within the Fantastic Four movie where we get to see Doctor Doom. But we will hopefully see where that ship with the four, that Fantastic Four, where that ship is taking our first family of Marvel and exactly what they're going to get into once they get into the universe with Thunderbolts. So we'll see, and we will decide on whether that movie is super or not. But hopefully you'll be right there along with us. As always, thank you so much for all the love, all the support. We greatly appreciate it. We'll see you in the next one. But just remember, until then, keep being super.